not just a case. You're not just a client. You're a person, and you deserve support. You deserve simplicity. You deserve communication. When you hire an attorney, you deserve clear, risk-free advice that guides you to the best possible outcome in your injury case. And that's exactly what the advocates have been providing for over 30 years. After your accident, you deserve closure. You deserve compassion. You deserve peace of mind. You deserve an advocate.
This is The Monty Show, the truth in sports talk streaming. When you want unbiased opinions about your favorite team without the spin, all you have to do is find The Monty Show, streaming live and available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on YouTube. And now, here's Monty.
Hey, The Monty Show live on Monday, January 12th, 2026. Good Monday to you. Hope your weekend was pretty average. Not everybody gets to be a Chicago Bears fan. So if you're not, just understand that you're not on my level, and perhaps at some point you will experience the joy of what it's like to be a fan of a real football team. And if that's not you, I just think that it's really tragic that your life sucks. So yeah, happy Monday. The Monty Show, as always, presented by the Advocates at theadvocates.com. 24/7, 365, and it won't cost you a dime. What do you mean? Jeremiah says my lighting's giving me ghost face, Jake.
What does that even mean, bro? Can somebody tell me what ghost face
I need
is?
to turn my lighting. It needs to be brighter.
I legitimately have never heard of the term ghost face. Is that are you saying his face is too white? Is that what that means?
I don't know.
I don't think that bro looks like a ghost, man. But
So you're saying that I don't know what he's saying. It doesn't matter. I'm distracted.
let's not get off of the Bears bandwagon today. I would like to just start this out today. We're gonna start the fight song on the show, and everything's great.
This song.
I got this dialed up just for you.
Yeah. And it's very typical. You're a disappointment. This song sucks. Okay. It's one of the worst fight songs. No, it's actually not. I'm just being a disappointment as a person. The Bears won. And yeah, the Bears won. And there's nothing you can do about it. And I just feel very, for once, I believe Oak State James said he hoped the Bears would win. I think obviously we saw the Oak State James curse in very, very full effect for the first three quarters, right?
Clearly.
I believe Preston Stone was in the stands, the whole thing. So it's fine. It's fine. Made it looking really pale. It's so my. Can I just have a Monday show where I can celebrate the Bears?
And as you can see, I'm going through some shit right now.
I mean, I just don't think that the lighting is an issue. You guys are like all on his case today. Like I don't like it's the same lighting every day. And now all of a sudden on a random Monday, you guys are like, oh yeah, Monty's got ghost face and he looks really pale. What do you mean?
It literally is the exact. It's fine. It's fine. Just because you guys are colorblind, see, it's not just me. Okay.
Whatever,
okay.
Man.
And now we're playing with the lights and look at the screen blinks. This is your fault, not my fault.
Yeah.
Great win for the Bears. Obviously, we'll talk a lot about that on the show today. A lot of NFL to get to on the show today. But I continue to tell you that 24/7, 365, that's where you get your best legal advice. And actually what you get is clear risk-free advice at theadvocates.com. And the best part is you never pay out of pocket. I was asked the other day what that means. It means you never give the advocates money. The way it works is the advocates, when they agree to take your case, and they do not take everybody's case. I think there is this belief because we've had this rash of call it what you want, frivolous lawsuits in our society, that every case, it doesn't work like that. At the Advocate, you're dealing with the best injury attorneys in the business. Integrity. They're going to fight for you, and they take cases they know they can win. And if they don't think you have a case or that you don't need to be represented by an attorney, they're going to tell you that. Because at the end of the day, the advocates never take money from you. There's no consultation fee. There's no big retainers, none of that. You don't pay the advocates unless and until they win your case. You get a settlement, the advocates pay you. That's how it works. And I think it's really important to understand that, because you have no risk at all, right? If the advocates go all the way to the end and you don't win your case, they don't get paid. It's as simple as that. That's why I say, what do you have to lose? If you're sitting here asking yourself, well, I was in this car accident over the week, do I really need an attorney? You should ask. Ask the advocates, because they'll tell you no. Nah, you don't need an attorney. Nah, you got hurt at work, but they're doing everything. Like, trust me, they're going to tell you no at theadvocates.com. Let's start with Indiana, Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
Indiana dominates Oregon. How good is Indiana? Because I think there's a whole conversation on Dan Lanning today. But it's not accidental that Indiana absolutely dominated Oregon. And I thought it would be a much closer game. I was wrong. I was absolutely wrong. This was never a game. Dante Moore throwing a pick six on the very first snap of the game was a really good tell about how this game was going to go. And I think now you have to start wondering, Indiana's 15-0. And you have to start asking yourself, how good is Indiana historically? Because when they beat Miami, and I think they will beat Miami, I think, and this is not I know that the other day the Miami fans during the show, Rock and Rant was here in the comment section afterward. Everybody was kind of getting after it. This is no indictment on Miami. This is, I think Indiana's defense is elite. It's the best defense in the country by far. And if they go undefeated, win a national championship, I think you have to start talking about Indiana being historically good right now.
Yeah, I think it's one of the most impressive turnarounds we've ever seen in college football, right? I mean, I agree that they're going to beat Miami. I think that they're a more disciplined team. That I think Mendoza is the better quarterback, and we'll get into that later in the week. But I think that hey, I'm gonna go to Indiana. I'm Kurt Signetti. I'm gonna go to Indiana when I had other opportunities because I want to be a head coach, not a coordinator. And then I'm gonna back up everything I said earlier in the year. And I'm going to put together to this point an undefeated season, like you were saying. Like, I just think it's a great thing for college football. I think he's done a great job. At the same time, yeah, I mean, it does beg the question. I mean, is this year's Indiana team what Ohio State was last year? I mean, I don't think they're far behind that team. I don't even think it's that they're just over, like, far and away better talent-wise, because they have a talented team. Obviously, you got to have a certain level of talent to be competing and doing what they're doing, but it's really the execution. That to me is what really stands out, is like, whatever the situation is, they haven't made mistakes. They've been seemingly ready to go. They haven't had like the awful, pick six moment. They haven't had the terrible fumble, or like, they are coached well. And that's where I think, I agree with you. There's a whole conversation on Dan today, but that's really what stood out to me is like Oregon just didn't look like they were ready to go and coached well. And Indiana, looked just locked in, lethal level of execution, no mistakes, ready to go. Moment wasn't too big. And that to me is really like the discrepancy that stood out to me. Not that Indiana was just way more talented and that's why they won. They just looked like they were more ready to go. And that to me is the problem here for Dan Lanning.
I think Indiana is historically good. I think that when we look at Indiana football, especially on their defense, I don't think there's any question that Indiana, these games have not been close. If we're truth telling, they haven't been in jeopardy yet. And one of the things that I worry about is I don't believe that Miami has the firepower to put Indiana in jeopardy. They just, I am not a Carson Beck fan. We've talked about this. I don't believe that the guy's a difference maker. And as much as malign Fernando Mendoza as an NFL quarterback, the guy gets rid of the football. And I think you've seen up front that Indiana's elite. I don't have a matchup where Miami can win in this game. I just don't. I think that Indiana is significantly better, and they're going to be playing on the home field of the Miami Hurricanes at Hard Rock. So this is going to be a matchup nightmare for Miami. That's the issue. And we'll see what their health issues are. They have a full week to get healthy on some level here. But it's really unfortunate if you are Miami that you're running into a historically good team. I think it is. To me, that is the real issue. And I don't know how you fix that.
I mean, I don't think there is fixing it. I think there is saying, if you're Miami, I think you're saying, hey, like it all worked out for us up to this point. I mean, think about what's had to take place. You probably didn't have the regular season you wanted to have, right? I mean, there were definitely opportunities to have a better regular season. And then in the end, the CFP committee gives you the in. They put you in the CFP, and then you take care of business, right? You win the games. And then you ran in, and you're running into a team that's better than you. Now, again, Miami fans going to say, well, us against the world, like we can beat them here and there. But I got news for you, man. The stuff you did against Ole Miss ain't happening against Indiana. That's not. You're not going to be able. They're not going to let your best wide receivers just run down the middle of the field late in the game because they're tired and you had them out on the field for 90 plays or whatever it was. That's not happening. And I already see it. I already see all the stuff on Twitter and social media about how, Miami's O-line size is 1,000,000 times bigger than Indiana's D-line size. And maybe that's true. And maybe that will present certain challenges. Maybe that will allow you to affect change up front the way you want to. But it's hard for me to sit here and be like, yeah, man, like Indiana just clinically dispatched Oregon, and I'm supposed to sit here and believe that Miami has a real chance in this game. And I really hope for college football's sake that it isn't a blowout. I would love nothing more than a fourth quarter, Miami is down by 7, and they have the ball to start the fourth quarter. That would be what's best for college football, but I'm just not confident that we're going to get that in this game.
Yeah, and I don't know that Miami needs to run the ball. Is Shannon Dawson willing to do what many teams have not been able to do, which is run the ball on Indiana? I don't know. I mean, you look at the running back room at Miami. They're deep. Fletcher is where it begins, but certainly not where it ends. You're going to have to run the football no matter the outcome to at least keep Indiana honest. But if Carson Beck continues to be the variable in Miami's offense, they're going to get blown out because you're just looking at a secondary at Indiana that's really, really good. Really, really good. And I'm not even trying to be a doomsday sayer. I truly am not.
Mm-hmm.
But I would love to understand, or I'd love to at least find where's the matchup where Miami wins this game? Because looking up and down and looking at the man for man on this, the all 22 on this, there's no way to find a matchup that works.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have to. I mean, I think Miami offensively against that defense is going to have to find a way to get Tony open. I mean, that's where it begins and ends for me. With their offense, if Malachi Tony is working, and you're finding him, even if it's early in the game, even if it's just 8 to 10 yards, it doesn't need to be 25 yards. But if you're getting the ball to him and he's running after the catch early in the game, that's best case scenario for Miami. But the issue I have is that you're going to be in third and predictable. Like you're going to be, to me, you're going to be 3rd and 7 or more. And you're going to be in that situation a lot in this game. And that's not the situation you were in against Ole Miss. And that's where the Carson Beck conversation comes in, because ultimately Indiana's going to watch the tape and they're going to be like, okay, let's, we like our odds against Carson Beck throwing it down the
Yeah.
field if, with our secondary, if we're putting him in certain positions. Like the one thing you notice against, Ole Miss is that when Carson Beck had success, he was just standing back there throwing to open guys, right? And again, it's not, I want to keep saying this, and I don't mean to be repetitive, but it's not like, hey, Carson Beck sucks, but we're talking about basically the best defense in college football right now. You're talking about a guy who you need to spot the ball in tiny windows to beat this defense, and that's just not who he's shown to be. So that's my concern. To your point, like the matchups don't favor you, but hell, let's say that the matchups did favor you. I mean, are we really sitting here saying that Carson Beck is going to be able to put it into tight windows consistently to beat this defense? That's where that's where I'm like, yeah, man, maybe this is kind of the ceiling for this team against this defense. They're going to have to come up with something they've never had or shown before, in my opinion.
Yeah, and that doesn't even account for the lack of discipline and execution from Miami. And Xavier Lucas, the dropped interceptions, the targeting penalty, what were they, 10 for 75 yards in penalties? That's my biggest concern here. And I think it is going to be tough. It is going to be very tough for Miami to overcome those same mistakes, because Indiana doesn't make those mistakes. Indiana is very disciplined. They don't take penalties. They generally don't hurt themselves. Fernando Mendoza generally doesn't make big mistakes. And I think that's why Indiana is probably on par with the 2019 LSU team. I think it's really close.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, frankly, I don't know why, but I have an irrational want to punch Fernando Mendoza in the face syndrome. I am definitely rooting for Miami in this game. It's not going to happen.
That motherfucker.
Yeah, it would be stunning if a week and 1 day from now we were sitting here talking about Miami as national champions. Right? I don't even know how that happens.
Google me.
I truly do not know how Mario Cristobal should have a statue outside of, well, it's not their stadium, but maybe you remove the Tua's unbelievable statue and you replace it with Mario Cristobal, because I just don't even know what you do I don't even know what you do if you're Miami to compete in this game. Because I
run the football. That's what you do. You possess the football. You run the football effectively. Because to me, that's where it has to start. Against this defense, nobody's been able to say, okay, hey, we need 3 yards. We can turn around and hand it off and get 3 yards. Now, Miami was able to do that against Ole Miss. And one of, part of Miami's identity is that physical turnaround, hand it off, punch you in the face mentality in the run game. So, I think you're going to, if I'm Miami in this game, man, I'm playing to my strengths. Like mentally, I don't think Miami can buy into how good Indiana is. We as, hosts and fans and the public are definitely going to talk about that. But if you're in that locker room and you're preparing for this game, dude, I'm playing to my strengths. I want to possess the football. I want to take possessions away from Indiana, and I want to limit Carson Beck's exposure against that secondary by running the football for 3 to 4 yards a carry. And I want it to be, I'm serious, I would be slow, methodical, like West Virginia style of football against this team. Like just suffocate them and eat clock, man. And I would also, if you're winning the toss or whatever, I would defer. Absolutely, I would defer. I want the ball in the second half to start the second half, because again, I think the CFP has taught us time and time again, if you take the ball and you don't score on that first possession, and then you're behind, and then the opposition gets the ball in the second half, that's just a recipe for 3 possessions in a row that you have to stop them. And I don't think that's a realistic ask of anybody against Indiana.
Yeah, I guess we'll find out, right? I mean, it's just going to be a matter of time. It's going to be a matter of time. We'll see what the game plans wind up being. I just don't see any way that, Indiana's defense is just so suffocating. It is, Indiana's very good. And again, I think the best team in recent years has been 2019 LSU. I think that's the best, most complete college football team probably anybody's ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
Indiana's not that good because Joe Burrow's not on their football team. And again, I am not a believer in, I'm not a Fernando Mendoza evangelizer. I think he's a good quarterback. He's not great. I'm not willing to play that game that they are. Mike Smith says my iron is low and your posture is off.
Bro, what like is Mercury in retrograde, or like is it the vernal equinox, or like what is going on, dude? Why is this such a thing, bro?
I'm looking pale. This is what happens when you don't get a reaction video. Okay. I mean, you know,
it's the fucking vernal equinox.
Like, what are we doing, bro? Like,
I don't even know.
Like, what is this material, Dibs? Like, honest to God, like, I don't get it. Like, I'm going to keep saying this. The lighting is literally the same every single day. And now y'all roll in here on Monday, January 12th, because it's the vernal equinox, apparently. And you guys are all focused on the lighting.
Now we go to white light.
Yeah. Comment
Now
on this. So does bro have ghost face still, or what are we looking at?
Is this more, is it, I mean, yeah.
Fucking A.
The architect says Fletcher and Tony are legit, but I do think Indiana's defense is too stout. I would agree with that. Ghost of Seaman James. Like again, Monday morning white look. Now I'm a white look. This is craziness.
White look. Can you define what white look is, dude?
Mike says us against the world mentality also works for Indiana. I would agree with that. Ohio State had the formula to beat Indiana. Their kicker just sucked balls.
No, I actually don't think it was about the kicker, dude.
Yeah, I don't know that I would agree that the kicker just sucked balls. Probably not the look I would have gone with, but
Ohio State.
ESPN can't wait to make the U part 3. Okay. Oh, look, Stadium Guy James, my name isn't. Yes, it is. Stop.
Bro, why are you running from the Seaman Demon brand, dude? Come on.
James must have had a bad weekend, because here we go with him being upset about people calling him the Seaman Demon again. Bottom line, ACC is a better conference than the football power brokers wanted. It's by far, not close, the worst college football conference in the country.
Dude, you're not serious with this, right? You're not really saying the ACC is better than the SEC. Come on, dude.
It's clear the SEC is no longer the standard. And now Big Ten, SEC, and ACC have parity like never before. You understand, the conference champion didn't even.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
What is happening today?
You guys got out of bed today and chose violence.
Excellent strategy, sir.
I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Okay. Miami's good. ACC is absolutely trash as a conference. Thank you.
Because it's garbage.
James, ignore it. Bad joke. Take the high road. Well, the problem is that James calls himself the Seaman, where he leaves out.
Yeah, I know what time it is.
But he calls himself the demon.
The demon.
I'm a demon.
Right? Like he calls himself the demon. I had an awful weekend health-wise. I'm a big. The butt buzz are acting up. Please share all of your butthole problems with us. We'd love it.
He is a sick puppy.
Yeah, don't take it personally. Okay. I don't have a dog in this fight, but I want Miami to win. I want the Big Ten to lose. Yeah, that's
Hey,
not.
see, now that's fair. That's fair. If that's how you feel, that's fine. That's cool.
I appreciate it. But again, it's this narrative right here where I'm just like, okay, so let me get this right. The Jimmy Dickwhacker Bowl now has some measure of importance as to the quality of a conference. We're supposed to believe that somehow, some way, because you went to the Pop-Tart Bowl, BYU is more deserving of being in the college football playoff.
It is championship week. Yay.
Bro, bowl games are meaningless, and they are no way, shape, or form a measuring stick to the quality of a conference. Like I don't know how to dispel or it. Indiana has been bad for so long. I have no problem wanting them to win. Oh, it's not a don't want them to win. It doesn't. This argument is one that we've had on this show for several years. With the Big Ten on the verge of winning back-to-back national championships, which they haven't done in so long. The idea that they would win back-to-back national championships is not a bar for how deep their conference is. Now, if you want to say, well, it's Indiana and it's not Ohio State, okay, hey, do you have another team with Signetti and the changes he's made? Totally get it.
Ohio State.
Legitimate argument. Legitimate argument. This does not mean the Big Ten is deep. It really does not. I think you need UCLA, USC, Michigan State, the pedophilia university. Like, you need all those to start ramping up what they're doing. Washington. Man, how bad do Washington fans look right now? I am embarrassed for, and again, I say it, fans are fanatics. You need to take your emotions out of it. But what they did to Damon Williams, and now we're going to welcome you. Wow, we're so glad you're not glad he's here. Remember, he's a scumbag and a liar, and what happened to all that? Maury Alvarez, the governor of Florida. I'm not as high as Big Daddy Magic.
Hey, player.
So I'm not going to predict Miami will win. But I sure as heck hope that it's closer than what Indiana did to throat slammer Lanning. I would agree with that. Dan Lanning is James Franklin West. And Jake hurts inside over this. Like he
Length and girth.
No tummy sticks with Dan this weekend.
Right.
I hope it's a good championship game and not a blowout. I would agree with that. The Chad Carter. That looks better. It's like it's washing you out. So we need, like you're saying, I need a white balance now. That's what you're saying. I got some copy paper right here.
No, boy. Here we go.
Got a white balance, bro.
It's actually not that easy, but for me, it was easy.
Even though this is a self-white balancing camera, right? Monty? No, Monty. See, is that better? No. It does it. Okay. Monty's new nickname, Coney Island Whitefish. Okay. That's fine. Can we get a Diego Pavia mom sighting at the national championship game?
Gabe.
Jake does not think, and we've talked about this, Jake does not think that Diego Pavia's mom is hot.
Mm-hmm.
I happen to think that Ms. Pavia is more hot than not hot. But Jake, why are you not a fan of this, Jake?
Because have some class. Maybe raise a kid that isn't saying F Indiana and F the CFP and has some class when he doesn't. Yeah, like maybe do a better job of parenting, and then I can judge you on your looks. Like, bro, come on, dude. Come on.
I thought you watched Landman.
I do.
What do parenting skills have to do with being hot?
I mean, yeah, nothing on that show.
Just saying. It's fine. It's fine. Let's see. Chad Perling, ACC champs Duke win the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl. Wow. I mean, the ACC is the best conference anybody here has ever seen.
Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl.
But seriously, if you go back, and I want I don't really, but I'm going to say I do. I don't care. I really would like your opinions.
Don't lie to me.
On like how important is it for the SEC is 647-2 in bowl games. Who cares? Honestly, the Cricket Celebration Bowl. Does anybody know who played in the Cricket Celebration Bowl? How about South Carolina State and Prairie View A&M, the Panthers? Like, are we, because Washington beat Boise now in the bucked up LA Bowl? Or the, are you guys ready for this? IS4S Salute to Veterans Bowl. I mean, Jackson State, the Gamecocks beat Troy, and my God, Jacksonville State, the Gamecocks, should now be in the ACC because the ACC is the best conference in the country.
It is what it is.
And let's not forget the Staff DNA Cure Bowl.
Oh, wow.
Or the 68 Ventures Bowl. What are it? 6'7", 6'7" wasn't available for your name?
6'8".
Don't forget the Myrtle Beach Bowl. Boy, Kennesaw State, what a year. I mean, and how the game that really stood out to me, and I can't believe that we haven't talked about, the famous Idaho Potato Bowl.
Oh, man.
But then again, there is the Bush Beans Boca Raton Bowl. What a shootout between Louisville and Toledo. That third down play in the third quarter that just changed the entire complexion.
Man. Wow. And
I mean, you look at the Scooters Coffee Frisco Bowl.
Well,
I mean, how does UNLV lose to Ohio? I mean, the Bobcats just, wow. I love their offense that they designed and the schematics. And are you kidding me? Nobody well, the Pop-Tart, did you see Kalani vacuum down that Pop-Tart line?
Fat.
The Tax Slayer Gator Bowl.
Well,
the Kinder's Texas Bowl just shows that LSU sucks. Who cares about the outcome of the Isleta, New Mexico Bowl? Don't care.
I don't understand why this is controversial. I don't get it.
Why? But Jake, the Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl.
Oh, man. Dude, do you see how they cut the grass, dude? I mean, wow, that artificial turf really is,
And speaking of grass, the Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl. Oh. Well, I said, God damn, Monty. You guys.
We're talking about relevancy of bowl games instead of Dan Lanning right now. How does this happen? How? Why are bowl games such a thing? Like,
I'll never, ever understand it. I'll not, because who cares? I have not wasted a moment of my life on a non CFP bowl game, nor will I. And that's why I was, can you believe Notre Dame is ducking BYU. Cowards. Yeah, let them duck. Marcus has to get in fights at wrestling tournaments. How is he going to do that? Hoovering down a Pop-Tart. Shut up. It just is. It's amazing to me.
Bro, you're not playing games. Bros making headlines at wrestling tournaments.
Well, we'll get to shut up.
Dude.
God, please go to the NFL. I think these meaningless football games, you win, you lose, who cares? It literally means nothing. It means nothing. And it's cool. Guys like James, TCU James, he's going to go follow TCU all over the country. Hey, that's cool. You and your wife cannot have sex in random motels off of a freeway. That's cool. Right? That's fun. You're going to shower at the nearest TA truck stop on your way to wherever.
Yay!
But are we all excited that your team was bowl eligible? Every team is bowl eligible. And if they're not, they fired their coach. So next year they'll be bowl eligible.
Unless you're Baylor.
Or Oak State. My point is, it just doesn't mean anything. It used to be fun. It used to be like going to the Pool and Weed Eater Bowl. But it has no bearing. It has no...
Yeah, the only thing it matters for is the TV networks and the sponsors. That's it.
Yeah,
It literally is just a moneymaker.
So your fans can get a T-shirt.
Yeah, and again, that's fine. That's cool, but I just don't understand why we're so hungry to make these games matter, bro. Like, it just isn't, it's not a big deal anymore.
Yeah. Bowl games mattered when there was no CFP and only a championship. Totally agree. King of Thailand, Monty, you said winning games matters, but only in the context that it proves power brokers' hot takes. What?
What does that even mean, dude?
I don't believe in playing meaningless football games. Football is dangerous. It hurts. I just don't believe. BYU is a great example of this. BYU going to the Pop-Tarts Bowl was good for BYU fans who travel, who make a family trip out of it. Like, BYU is one of the few teams in the country. I'm like, yes, go to the Jimmy's butthole cleaning fluid bowl game. You go do that because they're going to travel a legion of BYU fans. And it's a great time. And BYU does bowl games, right? Where there's meet and greets with the team and the coaches, and it's all love. And we get to see Kalani again just fillet a Pop-Tart like nobody's business, which I'm here for, right?
So that inherently means it's good for the Pop-Tart brand, bro.
So I think BYU is one of those few teams where they have the circumstances to make it right. Nobody, like that 6'8" lawnmower Roto-Rooter Bowl thing, like,
no, man,
again,
I'm good. I have other things to watch or do.
Like, you look at the ReliaQuest Bowl, or I'm trying to think of bigger bowls. Trust and Will Holiday Bowl. How about the Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl, which should be, oh, that's right, it was Texas State and Rice. Moving on.
Too bad.
Duke's Mayo Bowl. Like, does anybody know who played in the Liberty Mutual Music City Bowl?
You're a casual.
Radiance Technology, Valero, J-Lab Birmingham Bowl. I don't even know what J-Lab is. It's probably where they make lube.
Come on, man.
Come on, man. Michigan won the portal, Monty. National champs, Monty. Wake up, Monty. Exactly. Duke's Mayo Bowl is awesome. Winning coach gets bukkakied.
What are we doing in the comment section today, dude?
should just end the show.
Like,
It's
what
40
is
minutes.
this, bro?
Monty's a white guy. Breaking news. And the Duke's Mayo Bowl is great for Yee. Like, are you kidding me? You a hoe? God, help me. And then there's Oak State James. Well,
you know, guys, listen. I went to the Alamo Bowl, and I showered at a Love's truck stop in Waxahachie, and it was amazing watching dudes blow each other in the shower. You know, that made it was research for my book.
Cause shit's going good.
And
I don't have anywhere to go. But the point is, for somebody like James likes getting in his Honda Civic with TCU stickers all over it because he's a Demons student. You know.
Yeah, he is. He is.
And just see, the problem for James is he came in here and he's like, oh,
guys, I'm a Demon student.
And then you jackwagons do what you do. Oh, he likes semen.
Oh, yeah, guys. Let me tell you about Oak State James.
That's what you guys do.
That's who you're going home with.
And now we've got James like, this is where the comment section devolves to. I should probably put you guys in timeout. I just think these meaningless bowl games are
meaningless. Exactly that.
Score prediction: Indiana, Miami, Jake. And if you say 700-13, I'm punching you in the face.
Hey, look here, man.
I mean, I'm pretty confident that Miami's not scoring more than 20 points in this game. Pretty confident in that. And I think that you know, Indiana's overall score is just going to come down to how many picks Carson Beck throws, because I do think he's going to throw 2 in this game. And I think that I don't know if it'll be a pick 6 the way Dante Moore's was or what it'll look like, but I just feel good that there will be 2 picks in this game for Indiana's defense. And I think that you know, Indiana, I guess the safer way to say it would just be I'd have them at least 30 points in this game, like 30-17, 30-14, not that competitive.
I think Indiana now, if you look at the pattern that Indiana has put forward, and you start looking at the last month of the season, their offense has gotten significantly better, with the exception of the Ohio State game. But you start looking at, you know, again, 56 points on Oregon, 38 points on Alabama, right? Like you start seeing 56 against Purdue, 55 against Maryland, 56 UCLA, 38, 30, 20, 63, 73, 56. This offense, more times than not, breaks 30 points.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, I think Miami is the exact opposite of that. There is no consistent bar for Miami. They have played in 31-27, 24-14, 10-3. There's no consistency across Indiana or Miami's output. And they haven't played a lot of really stout defenses. I think this game is 34-17. Like, I think it's 2-1 in favor of Indiana.
But see, I think to your point, part of Indiana's offensive success is the amount of extra possessions they get in a football game. Like, if you've watched Indiana at all, you know that, hey, they're going to create turnovers one way or the other. And more times than not, those turnovers are going to happen in your end of the field. So you're giving the offense, you know, a 40-yard field to score a touchdown. You know, you're playing on short fields a lot. Not to take anything away from Indiana's offense, because it's really good, but when we're talking about 56-point performances, you know, 45-point performances, like, to get to that, not only do you have to be a really good offense, but you got to have the opportunity to go score. So that's why I'm saying, like I said earlier in the show, my first and probably most important strategy against Indiana's defense is chewing clock, burning clock, like chewing up the first half, take possessions away from them, try to limit them to 2 possessions a quarter. If you can limit them to 2 possessions a quarter, that obviously is going to mean you're going to have success against their defense. But you got to be based in the run game. Like we have seen, again, not to compare the NFL to college, but we've seen offenses at both levels say, okay, we're going to chew up the play clock every time. Like we're going to be committed to not, even if we're ready to go, we're not snapping the football until there's like 2 seconds left on the play clock. And for me, again, that would take Miami being disciplined offensively enough to say, okay, hey, we got to make sure our putting the play in process is really good, that we're at the line, ready to snap the ball with 10 seconds left, so then we can time that right. That, to me, is how you start to chew into this Indiana team. But again, nobody's been able to do that, and that's a credit to what Indiana's done.
And I think the one thing that Fernando Mendoza has shown you is he is lethally accurate with his ball placement. The guy just does not put the ball in danger. I think he's got the second lowest percentage of throws that could have been intercepted in all of FBS. Like he's just so accurate, and he puts the ball in the right spot every time. 45-21.
It could very well happen, man.
The god of SEO says 45-21. Indiana plays the best complementary football in all 3 phases. So we have a 3-phase guy. I think that the offense feeds off of Indiana's defense. There's no doubt about that. I would agree with that for sure. Miami's D-line is dangerous. I still think Bain is arguably the best defensive player in college football. And I was reading Mel Kiper's big board. I think he's got Arvell Reese as the top defensive player off the board. And I think he's got Mui Goa as the first Hurricane off the board. And I want to say, and I have to go find his big board, but I want to say he doesn't have Ruben Bain going to like 15, 16. And Mesidor's not far behind that. He's got Ruben Bain at 14. And he's got Akeem Mesidor at 17. Boy, how scary was that when Mesidor was laying on the ground the other night? Whew. That would be a terrible way to go out. That would be bad. How did Indiana become a juggernaut in football? Well, they hired Curt Cignetti. Did their players steal the talents of Michigan players like in Space Jam? Okay.
That was a good effort, dude, but that just didn't hit, bro. That one didn't. Sorry, dude.
A little flat. Because they play older players. They have Curt Cignetti has done what I think every coach in the country should be doing. He is using players in the portal that are older and more mature. I think their average age is 23 years old. You cannot win a national championship playing true freshmen. As good as Malachi Toney's been, he is the exception, not the rule.
What'd they do to Julian Sand, bro? What did they do to any young player? Any young player, whether they're freshmen or just don't have the experience, they're going to expose them. And I think that and again, this is the Oregon take. Obviously I haven't gotten to Dan Lanning yet, but I think that the Oregon take that I think everyone was on Twitter right after the game was, well, look at the rosters here. Like theoretically, if you're going by the star system and recruits and all that, Oregon has a air quotes better roster than Indiana. But the problem is that again, this idea, hey, we're going to focus our roster around guys with 1 or 2 years of eligibility left is really smart, because what does that do? That puts guys on the field who are motivated to win a football game, which means they're motivated to be coached, and because they're running out of time. And I think that's what you see, like whether it's the linebacking group, whether it's your O-line, your receivers, like I don't know if it's Cignetti's time with Saban or like what he's been able to do personally to get this style of coaching to stick. But everyone initially called him an asshole. He was a red ass. This guy, who's this guy think he is? Like, he is a red ass and he can be an asshole. But the reality is he's getting the most out of these guys and other coaches are not. And that would include Dan Lanning. So I just think that there's got to be, you know, when this season finishes, and in my opinion, they win a national championship, you got to take a look back and you got to say, okay, what was their recruiting process like? What did this team look like? Like, how did they go about it? Like, that needs to be studied.
Here's Nick Saban talking Indiana football.
What will it take to win one more?
Have a great week of preparation and put it on the field.
Oh. Did anybody hear that? Did anybody catch that? Kirk Signetti said, oh, you got to get the right people on the bus in the right seats, moving in the right direction. That is a famous Nick Saban line.
A Sabanism.
Yeah. And then, of course, there's God's favorite quarterback.
God bless.
Dude, shut up. Like, I Fernando Mendoza is a nice guy. You want him to trash your sister, right? You want her to mix up. You want him to mix up her guts. I totally get it. He has such a punchable face. Like, he is such an overwhelmingly wholesome, nice guy.
Yeah, Boy Scout.
It's disgusting. No.
Oh man, I don't have any social media. I just do LinkedIn, and that's it, Monty. I'm removed. Okay,
I just do LinkedIn.
Okay, bro. Okay.
And everybody was pointing out that he had updated his LinkedIn, and I was looking at it yesterday. It does say Heisman Trophy winner on it.
Well, Monty, look, I'm going to submit my LinkedIn resume to all these teams in the draft, and hopefully they'll draft me. You know, that's my process.
You know, I think it is. I think it's very interesting, and it is what it is. I'm not a huge Fernando Mendoza guy, and yeah, no, he does. Riley Leonard. It's not that Riley Leonard is wholesome. Riley Leonard just wasn't good. Riley Leonard was not good.
Great leader of men, not a great quarterback.
That's what and Jake and I had a big disagreement over how hot Fernando Mendoza's aunt is, because have you guys seen this has turned into a thing?
Mm-hmm.
Fernando Mendoza's aunt somehow, some way became a superstar the other night.
I don't understand why aunts and moms and like why do we do this to players?
Because we're sexually obsessed men. That's why. And I say this all the time. I say this all the time, right? Like, if there's a woman within our vicinity, we're trying to figure out if she's hot or not.
Mm-hmm.
That's what men do. Fernando Mendoza's aunt was turned into
the eyes, though.
Symbol. You be the judge. She is turned into this thing now on social media. Oh, is her name Nancy?
I don't know, but she looks like a Nancy.
No, she kind of looks. If you looked at that woman, what do you think her name is?
Nancy. That, for me, it's Nancy. That's what I see. Classy lady, though. Like, I'd much rather have this than Diego Pavia's mom, for sure.
Oh my God. What is wrong with you? God, what did I do to deserve this? Diego Pavia's mom. She's the one that she's the one that you want to 2-3 times a month. You don't have to buy her dinner. You bring a bottle of tequila, and that kind of covers the tab. Nancy over here, she's going to be a clinger. She's a stage 5 clinger. She is going to be somebody who's like, what time are we going to read the Bible tonight?
Iraq.
I'm going to bake some cookies, and then I have to iron my kitchen apron.
I personally believe that the cookie recipe needs some improvement.
And then, I have a craft project that's due, so I'm going to get my needlepoint out, and then I'm going to go drop off our donations at the church, and I'm going to go work at the homeless pantry downtown. Mm-hmm. Then when I come home, we're going to read our Bibles, and then we'll try for some insemination so that we can repopulate the earth.
Family. Okay, good. I'm glad we covered this.
I don't wear pants. This is the gal who's like, I don't wear pants. Pants are for men. Skirts are for women.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, that's Diego Pavia's mom. Couple times a month. when you're getting really frisky, you'll probably even, what's George Clooney's tequila? Three Amigos or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
Casamigos. You'll even spring for some Casamigos.
Yeah.
But yeah, rock and rant. This is what I said the other day, and everybody said I was a bad person. You and I both know Diego or Fernando Mendoza is probably a porn addict. You and I both know.
Bro.
you and I both know.
Bro.
That,
come on. We're now calling bro a closeted porn addict.
Bro, he's got some weird stuff taped to the walls in his shower. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. She's no Pavia's mom. She looks more like an OCD housewife, dude.
Bro,
Nancy Kerrigan.
Stop DMing me during the show nasty ass stuff about Fernando Mendoza's mom. Stop. We're not doing this.
Yeah, where is Fernando Mendoza? That's because that's not his mom. I want people
or his aunt.
Fernando Mendoza mom. She can't be hot. There's no way his mom is hot. That's not a thing, is it? That's his aunt. Where's his? Ooh.
Okay, bro. Come on.
We're gonna sit this one out.
Yeah, come on.
His mom's got that face. Oh no. Yeah, his
bro
mom
said his mom's got that face. Oh no.
You know that face where you're like, she always looks like she always looks like there's a dude breaking into her house. I shouldn't do this. Now I understand why everybody's obsessed with his hot aunt.
RJC man. She's gonna boil a rabbit if you dump her after a weekend.
100%.
No question about it.
Nance is gonna do that. Nancy is she's either Nancy or Jeannie. Jeannie's absolutely going to murder your rabbit. But then there's Fernando's mom. Like, this should be happiness. Like, this is at the Heisman Trophy. She looks concerned. I'm out on the Mendoza family. I'm out on that. The Pavia family. Listen, you want to put on a cowboy hat and go for a ride? Look, Jake's available.
Is that a real question?
Right, Jake's available. Again, tequila. Right here. She drinks water. She drinks tequila.
Yeah.
She doesn't drink at all.
You have to check it before you wreck it.
Right? I mean, it just is what it is. And I think what a woman drinks alcohol-wise is a big indicator of trouble or not trouble.
Yeah.
Fernando's mom looks like Annette Funicello. She kind of does. This better not is I'm going to hell. Thank God.
Bro,
is that true? I don't even want to know.
Dude.
I don't even want to know. He's going to put a curse on you if you cut her off in traffic. Like, there's just all I'm saying about good old Fernando. It's too good to be true. Now, Tim Tebow. It's a very good comparison. It's a very good comparison. But I think they'll be about as good as each other in the NFL. And Tim Tebow will probably be more successful. At least he won a playoff game.
Right.
So
God bless.
All right, let's get again. I think and Rock and Rant is here. Oh, Miami's going to win in a blowout. Miami's the best.
Yeah, they're the best team ever. Monty, I couldn't agree more, dude.
Carson Beck. Yeah, sure. He looks like a meth head that weighs 35 pounds and, but that's fine.
Cocaine's a hell of a
great
drug.
quarterback. Defensive penalties, schmenalties. They have a 16-year-old kid as their best wide receiver. How does a 12-year-old kid like Malachi Tony play in college football? Amazing story. Somebody send Tom Rinaldi out to do a feature. Right? I mean, we're not allowed to say anything critical of Miami. That's the greatest The political atmosphere in South Florida, amazing. It's
Michael Irving belting a beanbag on the sideline. That was cool. That was really good, dude.
Michael Irvin doing lines of coke right off of the end zone pylon.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Who cares?
Yeah, big deal. Big deal. No problem.
Should probably stop. Is Michael Irvin annoying, or is he that really cool alumni guy that every university should have?
Michael Irvin or Ray Lewis? Go.
Look, Ray Lewis had a friend knock on his car window. What's the problem? Well, there was murder and a knife and a bunch of blood. Yeah, but who hasn't been in that situation?
Oh, yeah. That's 2 for me, Ray Lewis. Thanks.
Race. I was watching on the talk the other day, the Chad Johnson, because I generally think Ray Lewis he might be the best linebacker ever, right?
Oh, Rock and Rant. Sorry, not to interrupt you. We should cancel the game. Give Indiana the natty today.
Hey, listen, at least Mario Cristobal's not kicking the crap out of wrestling coaches at his kids' tournament.
Wouldn't fold John Cena on that ass.
Okay, we should get into it. Did you guys hear the story about Marcus Freeman? Marcus Freeman was accused of battery at a wrestling tournament.
Uh-huh.
His kid is in a wrestling tournament. Marcus and his wife go to this wrestling tournament. And apparently, a high school wrestling coach who played, or I think wrestled competitively at Purdue, who hates Notre Dame, is just yelling and screaming at Marcus's kid before, during, and after the match, which Marcus's kid, Vinny, lost. And just berating this kid, which is weird to me because why are you attacking kids? You're not normal. Anyway, Mr. Loser Perdon't grad is going after Marcus Freeman's kid. By all accounts, witnesses, everybody, Marcus Freeman simply stepped in, took his kid, and tried to leave. Right, his kid had just lost. They were going to leave the tournament. This coach apparently follows them into the vestibule. You walk out of a gym into a large lobby. That's apparently called a vestibule. Things I didn't know. And this Perdon't loser is just yelling and screaming at Marcus's wife now, who is yelling and screaming back at him. Marcus grabs his wife, grabs his kid, and they leave. To the point where the kid who finished top 50, I think he finished 11th in the tournament, didn't even show up for the medal ceremony. The only kid in the top 15 medal ceremony that didn't show up. This coach apparently filed a police report and accused Marcus Freeman of battery. Like, how? How?
Clown, bro. Clown. Absolutely classless.
Mark, and you guys, I think you guys know, I think Marcus Freeman's a really good dude. I think he is a pretty average ass football coach.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's an elite level football coach. I don't think he is deserving of being the head coach at Notre Dame. It's stuff like this that makes it untenable to be good at your job. To be an elite college football or NFL coach or a celebrity or an athlete, this is the stuff that happens. You're constantly under scrutiny. You are constantly under a microscope, and you get idiots who went to Purdue attacking you at wrestling tournaments. Allegedly. Notre Dame released a fiery statement defending Marcus Freeman. I would assume they're investigating it. The DA's office is closed, so I would assume today this will all go away. But how ridiculous is this?
Yeah, I mean,
right?
I just think it is like, this is why you never get into it with people. You know, you don't like, not that this is Marcus's fault. I'm saying though that this is why you never like get in bro's face or like you don't engage. You just try to leave. And again, everyone knows who Marcus Freeman is. This dude damn well knew who Marcus Freeman was. And I just think that it's a classic case of, bro is just out there supporting his kid with his wife. And because he's the head coach at Notre Dame, this had to happen. I mean, that's just part of, I guess, just part of the experience in the real world. I think that, you pretty much never hear about anything with Marcus Freeman, off the field. There's pretty much no drama, nothing, no problems.
He's a really good human being. The guy is, by all accounts, he's the exact guy you want your kids hanging around. He's the exact guy that you want everything except coaching your football team. And I am not somebody that believes that this is the way we should live our lives. If you hate Marcus Freeman, there's something wrong with you.
Agreed.
If you're going to go in accost a guy like Marcus Freeman, who's at his kid's wrestling tournament, there's something wrong with you. Right? Like it's wild to me that we think this is how we should be living our lives. It is. And again, I want to make this very clear. We talk about a lot of stuff on this show. I believe that Marcus Freeman is an average-ass football coach. I think he's not a great recruiter. We have signed nobody in the portal because I'm on the team as well.
Right.
Even though I turned in my jersey for Rudy, they gave it back to me. Anyway, the point is...
Notre Dame, our mother.
The point is, I don't understand stuff like this. I don't understand it.
I mean, I just think it's bound to happen. It's inevitable when you're coaching college football at the level Marcus Freeman is. Whether he's average or not really doesn't matter in terms of this particular situation, right? As but like he's got the post, he is the head coach. That's just what it is. And I think that most fans and most observers of college football who are not in the media are not nearly as educated as you would be about like recruiting or his style. They just look at him and say, he's the head coach. I hate Notre Dame. Screw him. Let's apparently this particular guy was like, yeah, let's accost him in the vestibule. Like, okay, dude, if you're going to choose to go that way, now we've got a problem, right? Now it's like, all right, like you are trying to get something out of Marcus. And I think that this stuff happens countless amount of times and we never know about it. Like I think head coaches in the SEC probably deal with this stuff regularly, and we probably just don't ever. 9 times out of 10, you're not going to hear about it. But because this was at a wrestling tournament in that particular situation with his kids there, that's why it had to go that route, because Marcus didn't really have a choice.
Yeah, I totally agree. So Jake freezing up now instead of Monty. Oh, so it wasn't me. I was like, see, and I got to tell you that you guys don't care about this. My wife cares about this because she's mocked me for about 12 hours now.
Mm-hmm.
My wife made the mistake of asking me to help her make mashed potatoes yesterday. She made the secondary mistake of handing me a bowl of potatoes and a potato peeler.
Uh-huh.
I made the mistake of using that potato peeler on my finger instead of on the potato. Bro, I've got nicks on these 2 fingers and my thumb. How does somebody hurt themselves peeling potatoes? Like it is this, you can't even see it. It's so small. That's what she said. You guys see that little mark on my knuckle? Like it's so tiny, right? Like it's so tiny. And it just is the worst feeling thing ever. It's terrible. Yeah. So there you have it. For some sick reason, people like confrontations. Well, he did go to Perdone. Okay, what is Jimmy saying? If Signetti loses, it'll be Google me, I'm a clown. I can't see them losing. He's a really good coach.
Google me.
His ascension is not accidental.
No.
I think you look at the way that he built his programs everywhere he's been, he's done the same thing. He's been the same thing. Racism is at the core of this moronic charge. I doubt that. I doubt that. So let me ask you this as well. is Marcus Freeman one of the best coaches in college football? And I ask that because we still at Notre Dame have not signed a single player out of the portal. I think we've lost 19. We haven't lost a significant contributor. He's retained all of his significant contributors. But we very clearly have needs. We need wide receivers. We need core position players. And Notre Dame has signed none. None. And I understand that this year's a little different. We didn't need to go out and address the defense. We didn't have massive graduation on defense. We didn't have massive graduation on offense. But isn't that when you go out and hit the portal hardest? Because you have a bunch of dudes returning, and you should be able to supplement that by improving the top 25% of your roster. And they have done none of that. And I am somebody who believes that the portal is how you win national championship. Marcus, I think his biggest weakness has been a guy like Riley Leonard, who we joked about earlier. Huge problem, right? Like, to me, Riley Leonard, the quarterback at Notre Dame, with CJ Carr, the quarterback at Notre Dame is no longer the ceiling. I think that the ceiling at Notre Dame is Marcus Freeman.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Marcus is, I think his best role is probably as a DC. I think he is a really good. Again, you have to have this conversation from a standpoint of what is Notre Dame looking for in a head coach. Notre Dame, I think, really highly values someone that is going to be drama free and not going to be scandal ridden constantly. I really do think that that's like one of the biggest things that they look for in actually like winning natties is not like the top priority is in terms of like resume and everything. And I think that Marcus, I'm a big believer that with head coaches, if you're a powerful speaker, like if you're good at delivering messages to the media and like you can be really marketable, that's going to help you too. And I think that, Marcus is clearly not prolific in the portal. I don't think that's rocket science. I think the numbers bear that out, and the shortcomings at certain positions bear that out. But what I do think Notre Dame is they are relevant. And I think that that's what matters at Notre Dame. Are you in the CFP regularly? He is, not this year, but regularly they have been under Marcus. Are you national championship worthy? That's a different conversation that we've had a million times on the show.
Played for it last year, but really wasn't all that competitive. I think we saw the gap between those two. And I don't know, man. A part of me is like, well, yeah, I get where you're coming from. Like you want a head coach who does a better job in the portal and actually builds a team that's competitive at a national championship level. But I also think the mentality issue from this past season is an issue. I mean, I don't like that we're constantly talking about Notre Dame's schedule and that they lost the only 2 games that matter. And if we know that, Marcus definitely knows that. And yet here we are. So I sit here and I wish the messaging coming out of Marcus and that staff was like, yeah, we didn't do a good enough job. We lost both of those games, and that's why we're not in the CFP. Instead of Bavakwa sitting here selling us some nonsense pile of dung that you had the greatest 10-game run ever because you didn't, and it wasn't close to that. And that's the problem at Notre Dame, in my opinion. And I think there is no question that Marcus Freeman has been an elite high school recruiter. There's no doubt about that. But that's not how you win national championships anymore. I mean, I think when you look at the way Ohio State did it, you look at the way Indiana is about to do it. Again, Indiana is like, I want to say their average guy, they're like 23 years old. Like they're one of the oldest rosters in college football.
Yeah.
And the difference now is you have more of eligibility. And they're not sending guys like we talked about this the other day, juxtaposed to BYU, who's older age because they send guys on 2-year church missions. Mm-hmm. So a lot of their Mormon players go and serve a 2-year mission, then come back after not lifting and training and playing football for 2 years. In Indiana, their guys are older because now you have more eligibility and we have a transfer portal. And it's brilliant. It is the way that I would tell every coach to do it. Recruit young, portal old. That is how, and Deion Sanders has talked about this at length. It's great. I want to say that Marcus has a 35 and I can look up how many he's got, but I'm pretty sure that he's got Marcus Freeman has somewhere around like 30 something high school recruits in 2026. It might be like 29 or something. Let's see. He's got 29 high school commits coming in. How many of those are you going to keep? Half, maybe? Because they're not all going to play. Most of those guys will not get on the field. And that's how it should be at Notre Dame.
Right.
You should be on the field your sophomore and junior year. What's the problem with that? The problem with that is it requires you to be portal heavy, and Notre Dame is not. Indiana is, Ohio State is. You look at Miami. Miami's a very interesting mix. I think Miami's done a really good job. But if you look at Miami's roster, right, and you look at guys that like Hakeem Mesidor. Hakeem Mesidor is a perfect example. He's a portal guy. I want to say he went to, and I can look it up. I want to say he went to West Virginia is where he came from. But you look at any of the top players, Fernando Mendoza, portal guy. Dante Moore, portal guy.
Carson Beck.
Right? Carson Beck's a portal guy. There are obviously some anomalies. A guy like Arvell Reese, 2-year performer at Ohio State, not a portal guy. I think those guys are few and far between now. And if you look at the best players in college football, and you start looking at a guy like who's the best, Arvell Reese and Caleb Downs, portal guy, right? You look at, and Ohio State's very interesting to me because if I look at their top guys, like who's one of their guys? Sonny Styles. Sonny Styles is not a portal guy. I think he's played 4 years at Ohio State. So rare, right? So rare. But if you go up and down and you start looking at the guys that make a huge difference, like a Spencer Fano at Utah, who's the best offensive lineman in the draft, arguably, was a BYU guy, right? You look at, I mean, I can go up and down the draft board, but if I look at the draft board, more guys are portal guys than not.
Yeah, I just think it's the nature of college football now, and that's where I say, like, I think it's hard to look at Marcus Freeman as a Notre Dame fan and feel like you've got the best you could have, and I can empathize with that. But at the same time, I would rather have Marcus than a lot of guys out there. I would, I wouldn't rather have him than the top guys in college football. I think there are guys who are better than him, but I just think that at Notre Dame, with your situation, the scheduling conversation, and what you're able to do with that, like, there's no reason why you shouldn't be in the CFP every year. That, to me, is your bar. Now, if he pops off and wins some national championships every couple of years, great, awesome. That's what you're looking for. But the reality is any successful football program right now is in the CFP every single year. And if they're not, they got bumped out like Notre Dame did this year. And we all understand why they did. But again, I think it's good for the brand when you're right in the middle of it in the last selection of the year. That's right where you want to be.
Yeah.
If, like, that's not a bad place to be if you're having a down year. But again, just like we're going to talk about Dan Lanning, like Marcus, there are questions about why you can't have success in September versus November.
I think when you play high school kids, the learning curve is much longer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You can't shorten that learning curve. A portal kid's already been through that curve, right? So Marcus loses games. CJ Carr was a completely different quarterback in October and November than he was in September.
Yeah.
Not equipped to beat a defensive line like Miami. Not equipped to go up against a defense like Texas A&M.
And again, that point, though, is why he has to recruit better in the portal and equip his team. Because, again, because I agree, and this is kind of the Miami conversation with Carson Beck, but your football team at the college level is largely decided by who your quarterback is. I mean, teams like BYU might be the best example of that. Texas Tech, right? I mean, Baron
Utah.
Morton's, Utah. Yeah. Like Baron Morton, again, any quarterback you want to look at, like you are both the floor and the ceiling. Carson Beck a lot of weeks got by because that defense was really good, and then there are weeks like this past week where you had a phenomenal performance, you made the plays you needed to make, and you deserve a lot of credit. So I just think that Marcus Freeman is also a younger head coach, and experience matters in that way, right? Development matters. Everyone wants to talk about Cignetti and this awesome turnaround. Dude's 63 years old, I think it is. Like, he has been around the block. This is not his first time. He knows exactly what he wants to do. He knows how to do it, and he knows the timeline with which it needs to be done, which is why his team is good. So yes, it's frustrating Notre Dame isn't better. Yes, they should be better. But at the same time, they are also a CFP attendee damn near every year recently. So,
and my question is recruiting. I think recruiting the portal is vital. Recruiting is how you win. The portal is how you then now elevate to championships. I think you have to take 3 stars and make them into superstars, because the number, and we've talked about this a lot. It's very rare that you can have more than 5 or 6 5-star guys in your class, because they don't generally convert. USC is a great example of this. Your 5-star 17-year-old high school senior very rarely becomes an unbelievable contributor. They very rarely. Ruben Bain's a great example of this. That kid's from Miami, right? But nobody knew Ruben Bain. Miami's developed Ruben Bain. I think it's very rare. I think you have to have 30% high school and 70% portal. Yeah. You look at how many teams don't do well in the portal. Clemson, Utah. Look at how many teams don't do well in the portal, and they are irrelevant. Oak State, irrelevant. It's brutal. Yeah. The Seaman Freeman. Conundrum says, can't have your head coach punching high school. Well, he didn't punch anybody. What are you talking about? All right, back to irrelevance. Pitt got slapped by the portal. My God. Pitt has lost everybody. But this is my point. When you're Pitt, you're a feeder program.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's where your 1-star, 2-star, 3-star kid goes, proves himself at linebacker, and then goes and signs with somebody else.
Yeah, you go to Pitt in West Virginia to play 1 game a year and prove yourself so you can move on to, because again, I think we forget this. Kids who are serious about, like kids who have the talent and are serious about the NFL and have a legitimate opportunity, as a high school senior, you're like, all right, what's my best path? My path of least resistance to the NFL. How do I get to a place where I can develop and I can turn into an NFL caliber prospect? That's the whole goal, right? Because that's if you're coveted, if you're able to play in the Big 12, you can get to the NFL. If you're able to play in the ACC, you can get to the NFL, right? Any of these power conferences, you can get to the NFL. Not to say it can't happen at the G5 level, not to say guys don't go every year, but just, it's easier when you can play at that level. There's more eyeballs. So, I think schools like Pitt, you're a program that's going to have a huge churn cycle every single year. It's similar to what Boise State goes through, or any of these other schools that are feeder programs now. And again, it's not a knock. It's just your place in college football, honestly. And again, this Notre Dame thing, Notre Dame is not a feeder program, in my opinion. Notre Dame is a program that you can go to the NFL from Notre Dame, clearly. And the only question is going to be, and this was Witt's issue at Utah, if you're a quarterback, Notre Dame's probably not your first choice with Marcus Freeman as head coach, right? It's just not.
I would agree.
There are a lot of other programs that you can go to that'll, like, I probably would rather go to BYU as a quarterback. I'd probably rather go to Ohio State or LSU, or, there are just a lot of other options. But again, as a defensive player, you play in the secondary, Notre Dame's probably your huckleberry, right? Like, you want to go there develop. Like you can be very good. So Marcus has to grow as a head coach. He's got to either become a better guy in the portal or come up with an OC who's a quarterback guru who guys want to come and play for as quarterbacks. Those are the two ways.
Big Blue Horse says, why has Cignetti been able to survive NIL portal era and Saban couldn't? Well, I don't think Nick Saban was survive or not survive. Nick Saban stopped. I think Nick Saban lost his desire because, and I think he's talked about this 1,000 times. Nick Saban lost his desire because kids didn't want to talk about life. They wanted to talk about money.
Yeah.
And he was talking about, there's a story out there about how he has kids and recruits to his house they Miss Terry and their people make a big meal and they spend time together. The kids didn't want to do that. They didn't want to go to all they want to know is how much money are you going to pay me? So I don't think it was ever a thing where Nick Saban was not able to. I mean, his record says something different. His record says something completely different. And for me, I think it's guys like Dabo Sweeney who don't want to use the portal.
Right.
Those are the guys that are dinosaurs now. I don't think Kirk Cignetti's done anything different than anybody else. It's like I don't know how many of you saw the Utah BYU game, this basketball game this weekend. Utah's terrible in basketball. You figure it out because I can't. But they're 8-8, and I think they're winless in conference. And there were signs from Utah fans about how BYU's bought all their players. Well, my question is, why isn't Utah buying players? That's how you win in today's world of college sports.
And how long is it going to take you to figure that out?
Right? So we can sit here and we can talk about, when I talk about Notre Dame, almost always people are like, oh, you got to have a 4.0 to get in there. No, you don't. Do you guys understand? I think it's a 1.7 GPA to still be eligible. It's not hard to get in to Notre Dame. It's hard to stay at Notre Dame academically. Well, kids don't have to do that anymore, especially portal kids. The number one rub for a Notre Dame football player is he's got to go to Mass.
Yeah.
There's this big thing that Notre Dame is hard to get into. It's not hard to get into. It's hard to stay there. It's hard to stay there. So we can sit here and we can talk about all this stuff. Marcus Freeman, I'm hoping goes to the NFL. As difficult as it is to find a coach in the middle of January at the college level, they'll have their pick of any coach they want. And Marcus isn't leaving over scandal or getting fired. He'd be getting a job in the NFL. Please, Marcus, go to the NFL. Because he's not a guy who I say this all the time. Marcus Freeman in the biggest moments has not produced. Those guys generally don't change. We're going to talk about Dan Lanning in 60 seconds. Same exact thing. In his biggest moments, Dan Lanning's gotten blown out twice. Not once, twice. Marcus Freeman the same. Marcus Freeman did not win in the national championship, then did not portal well, did not win the only two games that matter, and all you want to do is whine and complain about how you got left out. You got to win games. Win games, and this doesn't happen.
It's the truth.
Do you hear Ohio State whining and complaining? No, they didn't win games. They did not win the game that mattered. And so for me, I think Marcus Freeman, if he goes on to be a head coach in the NFL, will come back to college as a much more well-equipped coach. Right now, he's not that guy. He's not. It was a good game, as rivalry games usually are. Yeah, and BYU kept that game way too close. And if you didn't see it, AJ DeBansic continues to be the best player in college basketball.
I don't even think it's a conversation that he's the best player.
We saw something out of AJ DeBansic that we haven't seen yet, and that is elite level passing. He was the focus of Utah's defense and still put up stupidly good numbers. But did you see him dime out? His passing was not only the right pass to the right player, but lethally accurate. He's throwing passes, and there's a term in basketball called the slot. He put the ball in the slot, so all the kid has to do is catch it and release it. AJ DeBanza is unbelievable. And Utah fan crying that BYU spends money on players, you should not be crying about BYU. You should be asking why you're not. Because BYU, I'll continue to say, is the model of athletics in this country right now. They are doing it, in my opinion, they're not better than Texas Tech. They're doing it better than Texas Tech. Because Texas Tech, I don't know where Texas Tech basketball, that team is not as good as it was. Not as good as that was. AJ played so good. BDM had 3 orgasms and passed out before the first half was over. I think that's true. You know, Oregon is the new Penn State, carpet material for the Big Ten. Let's come back and talk about Dan Lanning. Does Oregon have a Dan Lanning problem? Is Dan Lanning the problem, or is Oregon the problem? I'll tell you in 30 seconds after this from the Advocates.
Injured in an accident? You may be entitled to a bigger settlement, up to 3.5 times bigger. Your initial consultation is 100% free, and we don't get paid unless we win your case. No matter the accident, we are here to help. The Advocates will fight for you because you deserve clarity, you deserve justice, you deserve guidance. You deserve an advocate. Contact us today.
Clear, risk-free advice, and you never reach into your pocket to pay the Advocates. So what do you have to lose? Get to the Advocates today. 24/7, 365, in fact, at theadvocates.com. Does Oregon have a Dan Lanning problem? I think this is a fascinating discussion because Dan Lanning's a lot of hype. But I've been telling you all year that Oregon's a very flawed football team. And as much as I am surprised that they got blown out, I'm actually not. I think I look at Oregon, and I think there are a lot of factors at play. Number one, you can no longer allow your coordinators to continue to coach your football team when they are the head coach at other universities. We learned that at Ole Miss, and we learned that at Oregon. Tosh Lapoy and Will Stein, the 2 coordinators at Oregon. Tosh is going to Cal. Will Stein's going to Kentucky. Be on your way. You're elevating their replacements from within your staff. It was a mistake to have them stay with you because the team looked unprepared. That you got bulldozed. And yes, Indiana's very good. They're not that much better than Oregon. And my biggest fear, if I'm an Oregon fan, is that Dan Lanning doesn't have the goods to get the job done. That Penn State win was the high point of the season. That's where your season ended. And I think you have a lot of questions. Should Dante Moore go to the NFL? We're going to talk about that in a minute. Your single biggest question is, what are we going to do about Dan Lanning? Because you're not firing him. You're not even going to question him. You will see, if you follow this video and the subsequent upload from this video, you will see Oregon fans come into the comment section. You don't know ball. You don't know Dan Lanning. He's amazing. Oh, my God. You guys go ahead and shoot your shot 21 times a month thinking about Dan Lanning as your football coach. Knock yourself out. But here's the reality. Here's the truth. Dan Lanning is unproven. Dan Lanning has not shown you that he can win a national championship. The University of Oregon has not shown you that in men's basketball and football that they can win national championships. Oh, we've got Uncle Phil's money. That's cool. What has it bought you? Because it hasn't bought you wins, it hasn't bought you championships. And now it may have bought you a coach who isn't good enough as a head coach to win a national championship. So you got to watch what you pay for because you just might get it. What you have right now in Dan Lanning is a disappointment. And as harsh as you think that is, the reality is Mario Cristobal left Oregon and went to Miami, and he's going to play for a national championship. Dan Lanning chose not to leave Oregon, which what did I tell you when he turned down Alabama and when he turned down LSU? Uh-oh. Why is Dan Lanning unwilling to go to a more competitive environment? Oh, well, Monty, his kids love it in Eugene. They don't. Nobody fucking likes Eugene. Eugene is like living in a paint drying scenario. Dan Lanning doesn't want the fire. Dan Lanning, in my opinion, is very comfortable with Uncle Phil's money. He likes all the free Jordans, as he should. But the truth about Dan Lanning is that's probably not the guy you want on your sideline when the game's in its biggest moment. Or, I don't know, when the game is the biggest moment. Because Dan Lanning has shown you he's not ready to win those games.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the conversation around winning the biggest game of the year, like of your season, whatever that looks like, is definitely a conversation with Dan. I mean, I think, look, I think the bad from this game is yeah, you looked unprepared. You did not look ready for the moment. And I agree that the coordinator thing is definitely a conversation. You know, I would rather you just let those guys go to their new team and deal with it and get blown out rather than sitting here saying, well, they're going to help us and do that. And, you know, we're going to do our, like, it doesn't, I just don't think that that's the way anymore. And hopefully Dan agrees with that. Hopefully we see that adjustment at some point. However, you know, again, much like Marcus Freeman and other head coaches, I think this is the hard part about college football. Yes, it's disappointing you got your ass beat in this game, because you did get your ass beat in this game. It wasn't competitive and it wasn't close, and most of it was self-inflicted, honestly, because you threw the pick six to start the game. Then you had the fumble near the goal line with Dante Moore and the running back, and the broadcast wanted to say, "Oh, well, it's a young running back." I don't care who it is, dude. It's a huge game on the field. Got to be prepared. Not going to win. Simple as that. But I guess for me, the way I look at it is, you won, albeit two teams that were not as good as you. I had Oregon better than Texas Tech from the get, and you beat both of those teams. Obviously, JMU, that situation speaks for itself.
Yep.
But yeah, I think that not being able to win the biggest game of the year is a hard pill to swallow in college football, because you're right. What are you going to do? Are you going to fire Dan Lanning? Well, of course not. Are you going to sit here and put pressure on Dan Lanning? Probably not more pressure than he's putting on himself. Honestly.
You would hope.
Yeah. I mean, I think that Dan understands the expectation. And I think that the thing is, yeah, like, I guess I don't think that Oregon has a Dan Lanning problem per se. I think that Dan Lanning is a younger head coach who needs to figure out how to beef up his program so that we're not talking about, hey, well, you know, like, they're way bigger than your offenses. Their D-line is miles bigger than your O-line, and vice versa. Like, they're bigger and stronger than you on both sides of the football, and that really hurt you in this game. You were down 14-0 before you even had your first sunflower seed in your mouth, and you never came back. It was over. Like, I literally said, we were texting about watching the game, it's over, dude. I didn't think it was over after the pick six to start the game. That's going to happen. We've seen that before. We've seen teams bounce back from that. It is what it is. That's going to happen. But as soon as you fumbled like that, as soon as you looked unprepared, as soon as you just weren't competitive on defense, I was like, yeah, dude, this team ain't here for it. And this is exactly what I thought was going to happen. And that, to me, is the indictment on Dan Lanning. And yes, the comparisons to James Franklin are earned. They're deserved. He is the James Franklin of the Big Ten right now. Like, you need to learn how to win the biggest games on the biggest stage. And, you know, that skill is not reserved for everybody. That said, I also agree. It's also about what Indiana did to you. They're one of the best teams we've seen in college football in how long? We can't just ignore that fact. So, for the record, I don't think you have a Dan Lanning problem.
FTR.
Yeah, FTR. I don't think you have a Dan Lanning problem. But let's stop saying that this guy is a national championship contender every year. Let's stop with the, hey, we're like one of the best teams in college football every single year. I think you're one of the 12 best teams every year. I think you're a CFP contender just the same way Notre Dame is, just the same way Texas is. You're a team that can get into the CFP. You're not a team that's capable of winning a national championship right now. And that line is very definitive currently.
Yeah, I think Dan Lanning's a good coach. I don't think he's elite. I think he's no different than Marcus Freeman. I mean, I think this thing with coordinators is a big, big deal. This is now going to be normal. We are going to have coordinators who are going to get head coaching jobs and want to stay with their programs through a college football playoff run. You can't do it.
No.
You cannot do it.
You're either in or you're out, dude. There is no in between.
And Dan Lanning, again, the biggest problem I have is Dan Lanning was promoting from within. Both of his coordinator replacements are already on staff. Why are you keeping Tosh Lapoy? Why are you keeping Will Stein? Because you're a nice guy and you're friends. It was clearly a problem. They were not ready to play Indiana. There's no other way to describe the ass whooping that you took other than to say you were not prepared. And if you're not prepared for a college football playoff game, I have no idea what you're even looking at. How are you Oregon? And you are ill prepared to play Indiana. You've already seen them. You know what's coming. And you're not prepared to play Indiana.
I think that my point about them not being prepared is the self-inflicted mistakes. That's my point. If you had played your best game, if you had 0 turnovers, you played your best game and they were just better than you, I wouldn't have a problem, dude. You were prepared, you executed, they're better than you, they beat your ass. It is what it is. It's college football. That's going to happen. Like that's not an indictment on anybody. But the fact that you had, the fact that you started the game that way, you then turned it over, you never really had a chance. Like I
totally agree.
It's just not.
That's
why it's not good enough, dude.
The pick six, they were sitting on that throw.
Yeah.
They almost, I think it's strong to say they knew it was coming. That corner was not surprised by that.
Yeah, but this is why you don't throw this is why you don't throw. It's just not a good. And I'm not, I don't, whose fault is it? I don't know, man. But this is why you don't throw a 7-yard comeback route, to the far side of the field on the first play of the game. You don't do that. Throw an in route, like throw a more reliable route. It's not a good play call. And why was the pick six available? Not because the throw was ass. It's because your receiver ran a crappy route, dude. Your receiver wasn't in position to come back and get the football because the corner won the route, because the corner was looking for it. And again, that's better coaching.
I'm going to continue to tell you, Dante Moore needs to come back to college.
Yeah.
You cannot, if you're Dante Moore, and I think he's got less than 20 college football starts, right around 20. That's you haven't shown us anything. And what we saw against Indiana was a guy that just wasn't ready for the heat. Right. And it's the old boxing analogy. Your quarterback has to be a fireman. Yeah. Right. Like you got to be ready to handle the heat. And Dante Moore's not ready to handle the heat. He needs to come back to college. And furthermore, Dan Lanning needs Dante Moore to stay in college.
Yeah, and he will. He will. I don't have any doubt about it. You're getting paid a lot of money. You've got a really good existence on that.
You don't have any doubt about.
No doubt about. I would be shocked if he went to the NFL, dude. I'd be shocked.
I think Dante Moore has a chance to be a top 5 pick in the NFL draft. That's as guaranteed as it gets. I think he'd have a chance to be the number 1 overall pick, depending on
but you don't want to be that
interviews go.
You don't want to be that this year.
I don't even disagree with it. You never want to be that. But the reality is that's how you get paid. That's guaranteed money. And if you're Dante Moore, I don't think there's any doubt. You look at what Cam Ward's going through in Tennessee, or you look at anybody on the Jets. I understand it's problematic. I understand it's problematic if you go to the Raiders. But if you choose to go back to college, I think it's the right thing to do. But if you're Dante Moore, you're going to probably make more money in the NFL because you're a top 5 pick. So it's not going to be a money thing.
Making about $2.5 million in NIL right now.
I think there's a lot more money in the NFL for him. And it's so difficult as a quarterback to consistently be elite, and to be back-to-back years a top 5 pick is going to be really difficult, because you got to remember Arch Manning's coming out next year, after next season. So you're not going to be the number 1 overall pick. He should go to the NFL right now.
Yeah,
I'm probably on your side. I think Dante Moore probably goes back to school. Again, if you're under 20 starts in college football, it's not nearly enough.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, the guy has you know, his talent to me translates to the NFL really well, you know, but he has to get better at reading defenses and understanding what's in front of him. And he did that against other teams that were not as good as Indiana. Again, I just
I
want to
would
make
agree.
that clear. Indiana is an extremely good football team, one of the best football teams in the country, if not the best. That defense is experienced and knows how to disguise and played a great game, right? Give him credit. And Dante Moore is not yet at that level of quarterbacking to be able to handle that level of defense. Now, again, because I'm working hard to make sure we're clear on that, because I think it would be easy to just say, oh, well, Dan's a failure and Dante's and to hate on them. But there is a conversation about accountability, but there's also a conversation of who are you playing? So to me, yeah, the pick six, yeah, you can't throw that football, dude. You got to know better than that on the first play of the game.
You can't run into your running back on an RPO and fumble the ball.
Yeah, and again, I'm you know, he doesn't have eyeballs in the back of his head. The running back's got to be better than that. But ultimately, you're the quarterback. It falls on you, and it falls on the OC, which ultimately falls on Dan. But I just sit here and I say, dude, if you're Dante Moore, your athleticism at that position makes it so that you can be a top-end college quarterback competing for national championships. And to me, this year specifically, I want nothing to do with being a top 5 pick as a quarterback in the NFL draft. I want nothing to do with it, because you've got a bunch of teams that are absolutely trash, worse than most years. And I think the joke about not wanting to be a Jet is not a joke anymore. Nobody wants to be a Jet. Nobody wants to be the number 1 overall pick and go to the Jets. You'd rather be, dude, if you're making the estimate is he's making $2.4 million in NIL right now at Oregon. Dude, if you're making $2.4 million in college, money's not really part of the equation in the sense that you need money. The guarantee,
not Eugene for $2.4 million.
like
in Eugene, you can build a castle.
Yeah. So like, I just think for Dante, it's more like, all right, like, you know, what are my options here? Who would I likely go to? Do I like what that looks like, or should I stay in college? That's just the conversation. So Dan Lanning needs to get better at understanding what his team needs to be able to do to win football games. And my answer to that is simply, you need to get bigger on the D line, and you need to be able to run the football more effectively, dude. You're asking Dante to cover up for so much of that. And I get it, injuries and X, Y, and Z, but every team has injuries, dude. Like, I'm sorry. I am not going to sit here and be like, oh, well, you lost the game because you had a young running back in there. Yeah, that's your problem, dude. You don't have depth at the position. So you're playing a guy who doesn't have enough reps and is super intimidated by the moment at running back. It's not hard.
And the hard part is that when you start looking at the top producing quarterbacks in college football, Dante Moore's numbers probably don't get significantly better. I mean, the guy, if you start looking at Dante Moore, he's a top 15 performer in college football, 3,500 yards, 30 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 72%. How do you improve on that? How do you improve on that?
I mean, how do you improve on that? I mean, I think that I think that there's a lot of ways that you know, they as an offense can improve on that. But I think, yeah, for individually, yeah, I mean, those are tough numbers to beat. But I just want to keep pointing out, if that's what he's doing now, what would he be doing a year from now? What would he be doing? You know, again, another season under his belt, another off season of preparation. I mean, we've seen the jump that a lot of guys can take. So again, it all comes down to personal preference, bro. Like, you want to go to the NFL and you want to be a backup somewhere for a year or two behind a starter, most likely, or worst case scenario, you get thrown in day one and you just have to deal with it the way, you know, like Caleb Williams was, or you know, whoever you want to look at. I mean, to me, that's worst case scenario. You don't want to do that as a quarterback coming into the league. You would prefer to sit behind somebody and learn and then get into it. That's what the best have done. That's the Patrick Mahomes blueprint. And I think that Dante's talented enough to be, you know, to be a winner in the NFL, but he needs development just like any other guy.
Their schedule next year on the road: Oklahoma State, Illinois, Michigan State, Ohio State, and USC. Their schedule at home: Boise State, Portland State, Michigan, Nebraska, Northwestern, UCLA, Washington.
Yeah, should be undefeated at home. No question about it. Not even a conversation. But again,
probably outside of that trip to the shoe, you're not going to be tested on the road.
Is Dante Moore a good enough quarterback to overcome not being able to run the football against a Kyle Whittingham Michigan defense?
That's an interesting
Not
question.
sure. That's a damn good defense, dude. That's a tough defense. Like,
yeah. Phil Venzer, Raiders don't want more. You're crazy. The Super Conference model allows for top teams to go untested until it's go time. That's not a recipe for dominating success. Oregon did humiliate Texas Tech. Yeah, and I saw a lot of that over the weekend.
Yeah.
What did Oregon win? 23-0 over Texas Tech. What does that say about how far Texas Tech is from the elite teams in college football?
Yeah.
Pretty far, right? Oregon, which suffered a similar fate, no game for 3 weeks. I would agree with that.
So that's why I say, like, the nature of this question, and I think it's a fair question. Does Oregon have a Dan Lanning problem? I think it's a fair question. I think that depends on what your expectations are of Dan Lanning at this point in his tenure at Oregon. I mean, obviously,
What do you always say? What's the biggest concern about Oregon? Well, Eugene.
Mm-hmm.
Look at what Mario Cristobal's done.
Mm-hmm.
He left Eugene. He went to Miami.
Mm-hmm.
His recruiting's better. His coaching staff is better. The atmosphere down there is interesting. But he's been able to ascend. And I know that this really bothers Oregon folks. Eugene is the ceiling. You're going to get a lot of kids who don't want to go to Penn State because of College Park. You're going to get a lot of kids who don't want to go to Oregon because of Eugene. Right? At least at Washington, you're in a major metro like Seattle. Right? If you think of some of the secondary markets, you would better be elite. Oregon's got Nike, which really helps. But nothing overcomes Eugene, Oregon. You go to a visit on Eugene, Oregon, there's not a lot to see.
Mm.
There is not a lot to see. But what do you know if you're a upperclassman, if you're a Dante Moore even, who transfers to Oregon, you're going to be on national TV. Great. You're going to fly under the radar in public. Great. It's not expensive to live there. Great. But are you going to contend for a national championship? Are you going to play in big games? Probably not. Probably not.
You're going to play in big games. I disagree. You're not
going to contend for a national championship.
Yeah. I mean, losing in the semifinal of the CFP, that's.
But it's not even just losing. You got humiliated 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
Humiliated. At least this year you won playoff game, right? Like you won a game of note.
No, you won 2 games, technically.
Well, the first one was a tune-up. You thoroughly dismantled Texas Tech.
Mm-hmm.
Like you dominated Texas Tech. And again, I'll be interested to see what he does. My guess is I'm with you. I think he comes back. But Sean the Hammer, a member of the show for 15 months. Sean, appreciate you being here. Thank you. Thank you. The Raiders may trade the number 1 pick to acquire multiple draft picks. We need more than a QB. We need offensive line and defense. Well, you got to trade Max Crosby. I don't think there's any doubt about that. He doesn't want to be there.
What you need to do is find a head coach. That's what you need to do. And then you can talk about like what, the direction of the franchise. I mean, the Max Crosby thing, he's the face of your franchise. You need to trade him and you need to move along. Like it just is what it is. Take the pain pill and handle your business. But I think that
you need to hire the right coach
to
begin with. Tom Brady needs to hire the right coach to begin with.
Yep, he does. No question about it. He does.
Would you? No. Bryce Martin, we had the defense right, but Tech's offense sputtered so bad that we had to go pay for an offense. And you're the guy that was ripping me about Baron Morton.
Yeah.
When are you going to tell me I was right about Baron Morton? I want my flowers, Bryce Martin, right now. Didn't we have I'll punch you in the face conversation about
Lubbock or Eugene?
Lubbock. You just have so much more money, and you have the accoutrements Oh, I'm sorry.
Bro, the facilities at Lubbock are, oh my God, the massage tables, Corinthian leather.
Anyway, probably Lubbock, Texas. Texas Tech does it right. And I'm not saying that Eugene doesn't. But the other thing is Eugene might as well be in Alaska. You might as well be looking at Pootie's backyard. Right? Like, I mean, Eugene is out there, dude. It just, you live there. What are we talking? You when you live in Eugene, Oregon, you feel isolated.
Yeah, I think the thing with in FTR,
That
like
means for your rectum.
I'm not 18 years old in today's world. It's hard for me to understand what that age of person is thinking right now in today's climate. But if it was me, yeah, I mean, obviously living in Eugene, it is different than anywhere else I've ever lived. It feels smaller. I have to say, like, the fans are very plugged in, but that makes sense. Oregon's the thing here, like, it is a very interesting, different way of doing it. Like, small place, huge brand, everyone's plugged into it, and basically you play football and it's your whole life. And for some kids, that's what they need. That's what they want. They want to go to a place that doesn't have all the distractions of a major metro. They don't want to be, they don't want to have, you know what I mean? Some kids want that, but I would say the majority of top end prospect, dude, is probably knocking the Oregon opportunity for Eugene rather than saying, well, it's cheap and there's no distraction. Like, I just hope people understand, if you've never been to Eugene, like, the facts is that it's small and that there just isn't a lot of, accoutrements would be the word. Like, it's just
Great
very different.
Fun things to do.
Yeah, like, you don't have just run-of-the-mill, like, Cheesecake Factory's not in Eugene, as an example.
5 Guys, Jake, but 5 Guys.
Yeah, like, Jack in the Box is in Eugene, not Five Guys.
Okay, what's the best food in Eugene?
I mean, if we're talking restaurant, I haven't been, but everybody says that Kennedy's Steakhouse is amazing. I haven't been there yet. I think, yeah, I'm not trying to be negative. There's not like a bona fide, this is the spot.
And I think it also matters. Like, one of the things that I love about Seattle, it's an NFL town.
Mm-hmm.
All the buildings turn their lights on to match the Seahawks colors. This town is a buzz now because they have a home playoff game next weekend, and there's stuff to do here. There is stuff to do here. I think it matters. Big Blue Horses. If I'm a top QB, money aside, if I've got eligibility left, I'm not going to the Jets or the Raiders because my career is dead before it starts.
Agreed.
Yeah. Bryce Martin, I disagree. They play Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan, and SC. They are perennial playoff contenders, and kids want that exposure. I think there's some of that is true. I think there's a lot of it that is just not exposure. You can go to any of the top programs. You have to figure out the differentiators, right? You have to figure out what is this university going to offer me over that university? Because if you're good enough to go to Eugene and play for the Oregon Ducks, you can pretty much go play anywhere.
Agreed.
And if you're getting a phone call from Washington or Oregon, that's a really tough choice. But if you're getting a phone call from Michigan or Oregon, SC or Oregon, and a lot of it depends on where you're from. If you're an LA kid, you're going to answer the phone way, way quicker for USC, right? If you're a modern day high school kid. But I think there's a lot of circumstances. But in general, I think it's very difficult to say, yeah, come live in Eugene for 3 years. It's very difficult.
Yeah.
Very, very difficult, in my opinion. Lubbock has similar issues as a location. It does. It feels like it's on an island in West Texas.
Yeah, one of my, just as this is not unique to Oregon, I guess, but like, one of the things that's interesting about Eugene too is the airport situation. Very underrated dynamic in Eugene, meaning you have a regional airport in Eugene, which means that if you're like, Oregon can't fly from Eugene to, Northwestern. They can't fly from Eugene. You can't fly out of Eugene on a 3+ hour flight. Let me put it that way. need to go probably to Salt Lake or SeaTac, and then you will make that flight. Mainly because the airport's not big enough to handle the size of plane you need. So like, it's just it's a very like, you either like it or you hate it. Like you either are good with the small town vibe and like you just want to focus on football and that's your thing, and you're not as big on like, you know, the college-y experience, if you will.
College-y.
Or you're like
collagen.
Yeah, or like you want to go to a school that's got a lot more nightlife, that's got a lot more stuff happening
Strip club.
outside of football. You know. So I just think it's just a stylistic preference thing.
Yeah, and I think again we're talking about 17-year-old kids. Like upperclassmen, that Dante Moore from UCLA to Eugene was a no-brainer, in my opinion. I told you he wasn't a playmaker. He needed to be, and he is nowhere on the level of Beck or Sam Levitt. I was on you because you wanted him to be A+, and he was a game manager. Texas Tech fans were constantly telling us how elite Baron Morton was. Constantly.
Mm-hmm.
So, midweek Coug. What's up, Coug? I would much rather live and play in Eugene than Lubbock. Well,
yeah, but you're a Washington State fan too. So you're a P&W guy. Yeah.
Lubbock is a party town, but after 2-3 days, you will basically have been everywhere. And if you leave the city limits, it'll be like stepping on the moon for some of these guys. I don't disagree.
Yeah.
But this is where we get into money and whatnot. So, Douglas, doesn't Oregon have a hard time with road games because of the travel? Travel at Oregon is arduous. That's why going to Epstein Island and winning this year was so huge.
Mm-hmm.
You know, half the teams I listed don't make the playoffs consistently, and Oregon at least makes it consistently, and they're regularly produced NFL guys. True.
And so that's part of the Dan Lanning conversation, you know, and that's my point about Dan, is that I completely agree. Dan is still learning how to coach his team in a way that allows them to win the CFP semifinal game against whoever it's going to be on any given year. But you want, you want a head coach that's going to have you in the CFP regularly. You want a head coach that puts guys in the NFL, that quite frankly dominates social media on a week-to-week basis in college football through no effort of his own. Just people. They
don't do it for clicks at Oregon.
Yeah, I know.
They're not Colorado.
They don't do it for clicks. They do it for fumbles on the goal line. I get it. But the reality is that he's doing a good job overall. It's just figuring out how to get over the hump in that big moment for the program. And for the record, FTR, I do think he's going to figure that out. He will figure it out. That's why I like him, because he's going to sit there and he's going to say, yeah, you know what? This one's on me. Like, we got to recruit better. We got to have a bigger presence on the line of scrimmage, and we got to be able to run the football more, man. Like, that's the thing that stood out to me. You're more than happy to turn around and hand it off against Oklahoma State and just run it down their throat the whole game. But where was that against Indiana? Where was the commitment to RPO? Where was the commitment to, hey, we're not gonna run inside the box against Indiana. We're gonna get them out on the edge and use our speed. Where was that, bro? Because I didn't see any of that. I saw you try to roll out a gimmicky little passive, dink and dunk 3-4 yard attempt and then take a shot down the field and be in 3rd and 8 all game. Like, that's not a game plan against Indiana. That's what I'm saying. It's a coaching problem, and they need to tighten that up.
Yeah, I don't know. Marcus is making a good point. Marcus is making a very good point. Like, maturity plays a big role in where a kid picks to go.
Agreed. Yeah.
And I think maturity is a big part of that. And I think if you want to focus on playing football, Eugene's probably a pretty good place to do that.
Yeah,
and
it is.
I think that that's why I say, like, they should do well in the portal. But I also think there's a really good, when it comes to recruiting, high school recruiting, you don't have a base to recruit from in Eugene. You have to go into somebody's backyard and win.
Yep.
And that's really tough to do, at least at a place like, because I think Penn State is one of the most geographically challenging recruiting spots in the country. I think Penn State, Arizona, and Eugene are 3 of the most difficult places to tell a kid from a big city to come play ball.
Yeah, I don't think people realize how far Tucson is from
No.
Phoenix. I don't think people get that. I
How
think that
far
people
it feels and how hot it is.
I mean, it's what is it, a 90-minute drive or so, but it might as well be like 3 hours.
You're
Like,
10
I mean,
minutes from the Mexican border, dude. Like it is uncomfortably close. And I think that's really tough.
Yeah.
That's a really tough ask. And so that's why I say like Penn State, Arizona, and Eugene are 3 of the toughest places to recruit to. And I think when you don't have a base, at least in Tucson, you can go up to Phoenix and have a base. At Texas Tech, you can recruit the state of Texas.
Salt Lake City, bro.
You have a huge base of talent in Salt Lake City.
And then there's USC, which has a massive base there. And you know, this is my, not to go on a whole diatribe about the Big 12 being ass lately, but this is my problem with teams in the Big 12 struggling in recruiting. You're in the middle of the country. It's not hard to get to you, and you still are just not putting your foot to the floor on recruiting and getting kids in.
DeBansa went to Provo, Utah as a
How?
black man.
Oh, that's right. Because what did they realize? Yeah, you know, we got to get the checkbook out, man. Let's get the checkbook out and let's go full force forward and go get these guys. And we're not going to talk about the fact that Provo is almost an hour drive from Salt Lake City International. We're not going to talk about the fact that Provo, you know, in Utah County is just a, you know, with all due respect to Utah County, just a very different place. Like
it is
not
it's the moon.
You know, they're not bad people, but it is a different moon. Exactly.
It is the moon. Yeah,
it's
Provo
different,
is
bro.
not. Provo just feels different, right?
Yeah.
And I think when you, especially, and I think race in recruiting matters at BYU. It is the state of Utah is very white. And at least in Salt Lake City, you have culture, you have diversity, you have a gay community and population. You have diversity. In Provo, you don't have that. You just don't. And I think it's on top of that, you're signing an honor code. On top of that, there's no weed, there's no liquor, there's no.
That's what I'm saying. If you're at if you're at Baylor or TCU or again, Tech. Like Tech's obviously doing a really good job right now, but like some of these also rans in the Big 12, like what is Iowa State going to do? Like what is right? Like what why is it that we're over the weekend, and this definitely flew under the radar, I feel like, but you have UCF out here putting out a graphic talking about how there's no state income tax in Florida and we're happy to pay you. Dude, you're in Florida, bro. Like, do you not understand what you have access to in that state in terms of talent?
Dude, how are you struggling to recruit to Baylor? How are you struggling? And I say this about the Big 12. How are you struggling to recruit in Fort Worth? I watch Landman. I know what Fort Worth looks like.
So with all due respect to that reference, because I agree, does Oregon really have a Dan Lanning problem? Or is it more just that they win enough and they're expecting at some point to win a natty? They don't have a Dan Lanning problem. What the problem is that other schools in other areas are not doing a good enough job. So guys like Dan Lanning not having what he needs to win a natty, that's why that's a problem, because it's out there and you should have got it. It's available. Go get it.
Yeah. Yeah. This is exactly my point. TCU and Baylor being in the heart of recruiting hubs.
Like, come on, dude. Like, what are we talking about?
You have coaching, and I love Sonny Dykes. He's got to go at TCU. I don't believe in Dave Aranda as a head coach, but they didn't fire him.
And you know what the shame of that is, too? Because the shame of it is, you brought up Utah basketball earlier in the show. The shame of it is that programs like TCU and Baylor and Kansas and K-State, dude, they're doing decently to really good in basketball. Like, they're actually productive, bro. Houston, perfect example.
Texas Tech. Texas Tech is number one in college football, essentially, in the state of Texas. Texas Tech, whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
They're one of the best programs in Texas. They're the best program in their conference. And they're one of the top 5. I think they'll fall at the top 10 this week, but they're one of the 10 best basketball teams in the country. In Lubbock, how are you not doing that in Waco and in...
It's beyond me, bro. It's beyond me.
Figure it out. It's just... I don't know, man. Big Daddy Magic. Silly Timothy, you can get weed in Provo and it's very good. I'll send you a video. I don't want videos of weed, dude.
Yeah.
I don't. I don't. I listen. If I have to explain why it's difficult to recruit to BYU from a guy in Big Daddy Magic who hates BYU,
Unless we're talking about AJ
Devanza, who has made Big Daddy Magic forget about Victor Wembanyama, who we told you was going to be hurt all the time, but it's fine.
Victor's the way.
You know, Husker Magic. Let's keep in mind Oregon has a stellar 26-3 record over the last 2 years with impressive playoff wins again.
Dude, why are you throat slamming? What are you doing?
He's not. He's being sarcastic. Brandon Butler probably makes the point of the morning.
Yeah, we need to talk about it, dude. I'm ready. I mean, dude, I came prepared.
Let's switch gears and talk about the Chicago Bears. And I just want people to understand this team has heart. The Packers are terrible. And to send those scumbag losers back to Green Bay was unbelievable. We had no business winning that game. Caleb Williams is an inaccurate passer who's under 60% on the season, unless it becomes halfway through the third and fourth quarter, and then he just turns into Joe Montana incarnate. The 3 throws he made in the fourth quarter, I don't know. And I'm including the god of all things football, Patrick Mahomes. I don't know that any other quarterback in the NFL could have made the throws that Caleb Williams made in the fourth quarter. I don't know how you explain that guy's ability to flip the switch. This whole thing about, and listen, I think you guys know that I am a huge believer in Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson and Jake, obviously, because you're a jerk, doesn't have the cut. But Ben Johnson saying F Green Bay, the Packers, is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. And Dick Vitale getting upset with Ben Johnson, calling it classless. I don't know what you're talking about. Because it is absolutely the Packers. There's no question about the fact. This is one of the most heated rivalries in all of professional sports. Ending the Packers season like that, and now knowing that they're going to keep Matt LaFleur as the head coach of the scumbag Green Bay Packers, I say, do it. Do it, bro, because he mismanaged the clock. His play calling was terrible. But it was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It was awesome to watch the Chicago Bears dismantle those scumbags from Green Bay. And I loved every minute of the cheese grater.
There we go. Cheese grater. This is what rivalries are made of. That's it. Oh, yeah.
This going around Twitter was incredible, dude. I mean, just incredible.
And as far as the Ben Johnson thing,
There's Conlon Gordon took care of it. That's a very cursory handshake. No.
Elite out of Ben Johnson, dude. Absolutely elite.
And so when we go back to Ben Johnson getting hired and he said he hates the Packers, and I'm here for it. I'm here for it. This is probably, next to the Super Bowl, this is probably the best victory I have ever sort of experienced with the Chicago Bears. Because I'll be honest with you, I turned the game off in the third quarter. When after the Matthew Golden touchdown, turned it off. Like I was really upset. And then I'm watching it on my phone, right? I'm watching the play-by-play and I'm like, oh, okay. We're going to kick another field goal. Okay, well, field goals don't win games. And then
it's 21-9.
How they Packers turn the ball over. Like now we get back into the game and I turn the game back on and greatness happens. And this is one of the greatest moments as a Chicago sports fan that we've ever had. And the fact that the Cubs signed Alex Bregman that same night, the fact that the Bulls won, the Hawks won, Bedard's back, Chelsea won in the FA Cup, it was a really good sports day for me. What?
The FA Cup. That's funny, dude. That's great.
the fact that, listen, it was good times. And again, this whole thing with Caleb Williams, I think it's critically important.
It's incredible.
It is so critically important that he performed at the level that he performed at. He is now and arguably the best quarterback the Chicago Bears have ever had.
Yeah.
That win and his willingness to grade cheese on national television. Embrace the rivalry. Hate the Packers. Let the pain of those losses motivate
flow
you.
Through you.
Let the power of Aaron Rodgers being a complete ayahuasca smoking cunt propel you. Probably too much, but
yeah,
like
yeah. I mean, dude, I was thrilled. I watching the game, just the whole. It was an experience, honestly. Like the comeback, the handshake, the cheese grating, like all of it was just. I mean. And I loved that it was a night game. That was even better, like just, I don't know, man. It just was one of those games, Bears fan or not, just if you're an NFL fan, that was an incredible experience, honestly. Like that's the kind of game I'm talking about where I'm like, Caleb Williams arriving is what the NFL playoffs needed, because I think that's what it was, honestly. Like that was him. That was the epitome of you were ass in the first half and your defense sucked and everything was terrible. And then you came back in the second half and the defense got stop after stop, only gave up 7 points the entire half. Like McManus missing all those kicks, costing his team the game. Yep. Like it just was awesome. And I just think that, no matter what happens going forward, this win will not be forgotten. And I hope that the rivalry between these two continues to be in the Bears' favor, because when it is, it's so much more enjoyable.
Yeah, I am fascinated by it, and I think it is truly one of the greatest wins in Chicago sports history. I'm not even sure it's close. Ben Johnson might be the most beloved coach in Chicago since Ditka. If Ditka is God, then Ben Johnson is our Jesus. Well,
and especially how long it's been, though. Think about it. So, like,
Joe Madden.
Well, yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Right? I mean, that has to be one.
Yeah.
Joe Madden or Ben Johnson?
I mean, Ben Johnson right now, but
you think?
Oh yeah, football will forever trump baseball for most fans, I think.
Wow.
But I think that winning the World Series was.
I mean, are you kidding me? That is I think that's one of the single greatest. I think that's one of the single greatest moments in I think that's one of the single greatest moments in Chicago sports history.
But if you're bringing up Ditka, how are you not bringing up Phil Jackson? Right? I mean, come on. Like, that's if we're talking about all-time coaches.
Phil doesn't feel good.
Uh-huh.
Phil feels like a guy who won.
But not like a full hero.
He's not a Chicago guy. Joe Madden's a guy that was sipping whiskey with you at the bar at, your favorite tap. Yeah. He was at Gibson's with you. Like it just
vibes were great.
Yes. Ben Johnson, we'll see. I mean, let's remember, he hasn't won anything. Right? Like, I think.
I mean, first playoff win in what, 18 years, I believe it was?
I think it is. It feels good because the Bears won a game, but we need to not get carried away with it. You know, that is, we really need to.
I don't know. No matter what, he is overachieved this year. There's no question about it. Absolutely is overachieved, and so is everybody else in that organization. No doubt about it. And the Kyle Shanahan win to me is a goated win. That with all the injuries they have, that's a hell of a coaching performance. But the Bears winning a playoff game.
But listen, it's what Caleb said after the game. And of course, Jake doesn't have the locker room video that I asked for, but Caleb Williams after the game gave his game ball to Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson gave Caleb a game ball. Caleb Williams talked about how transformative Ben Johnson has been to his life and gave Ben Johnson that game ball. And I think Caleb was taking a lot of heat during the game because Caleb was getting on dudes. Like, I'll never understand that interception down the field that everybody was ripping Caleb for. Luther Burden stopped the route. Just stopped running inexplicably. And what did Caleb do? Caleb yelled at him on the sideline. Oh, and what a bad teammate. Well, it turns out he wasn't a bad teammate because Luther Burden had two more really important catches. Really important catches. So I think all of his teammates saying that Caleb was doing his job. Now, it helps that you won the game.
Yeah.
But what did Caleb Williams say in his post-game speech? The details have to improve. We've got to do the little things better. Because you have Colston Loveland missing a critical block, just not executing the play. And I know I talk about this a lot, but how many times this weekend in football did we see guys just not execute the play that was called? Whether it's guys running into each other on RPOs, kicking your quarterback's feet out from underneath him, running the wrong route, not running the route to completion, assuming you're not getting the football. How many, it's a plague in
repeatedly.
Football.
Yeah, repeatedly.
You have to execute the play as it's called and as it's designed. And you have to do your job. And I know it sounds simplistic, do your job all the way through the end of the play and your team will win. And it doesn't happen a lot.
Yeah.
It does not happen a lot.
Yeah, I think the Caleb Williams bad teammate, good teammate conversation, winning the game decides if you're a good or bad teammate, in my opinion. If you're
a leader or not.
Yeah. Like, if you are yelling at your teammates and trying to get the best out of them and doing what needs to be done, if you go and win the game, that makes all of that okay. Right? Tom Brady, the iconic Tom Brady yelling at his teammates on the sideline clips don't mean anything if they don't come back and beat the Falcons. It doesn't matter. You can yell at your teammates, but if you suck and you're not winning and you didn't, if the Bears had gone on to not score any touchdowns in that game and it only kicked 3 field goals the entire game, yelling at your teammates would have added to an already negative narrative around Caleb Williams. But because you won the game and you're doing this after the game on TV, it makes it all come together. Winning is the glue that binds all the moments. And I just think that was the whole thing. And it was just great to see, man.
And I thought it was huge that they talked about how the Packers talked a bunch of crap about them. And I thought that was huge. It just was phenomenal to send them home. And yes, I think Bryce? Yeah, here it is. It's been time. I've been talking about this for 2 years. Caleb Love is the most overrated quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah.
Brutal. Delaric, football is better when rivals play each other and they both are good regardless of the league. I would agree with that. You mean former Stroh's third baseman Bregman? Yeah, the cheater.
Yeah.
The cheater. It's, not going to lie, I was ready for another Caleb Williams meltdown on TV, though. He hasn't had a meltdown. What do you mean? Great game, was happy for Chicago fans. Okay. Timothy, you were so right about your beloved quarterback. I'm proud of you.
Oh, well, man. I mean, what a iconic moment on the show. BDM is proud of Timothy.
Yeah, after your quarterback almost choked another D away in the playoffs.
Bruh.
Like, it's remarkable to me. You look at the rest of the games. The Panthers-Rams game was great theater. And Matthew Stafford is one of the best stories in the NFL. It's going to end this weekend, you prick.
Witchcraft, bro.
But Bills-Jags was not a great football game. And, I have no idea. I have no idea what you do if you're Buffalo, because you're not better than the Patriots.
No.
I think that's a huge problem.
Yeah, that was a dominant performance by the Patriots. Good
Are
game
you
for them.
surprised Houston is favored at the ketchup bottle? Or, excuse me, Acrisure Stadium?
What a joke of a name.
8:15 on ABC tonight.
I want to be like, yeah, I'm surprised. I mean, it's the Steelers. Like, they're really good. They should beat this team. But they have left out. And it's not, again, you're going to bust my balls about Aaron Rodgers. Yes, I have some issues with Aaron, but there's bigger issues on this team than Aaron, man. Like,
their defense?
Yeah, their defense is a huge problem. The wide receiver room itself is a huge problem, in my opinion, not being consistently available.
DK Metcalf I think this is the biggest game of DK Metcalf's career.
Yeah. I mean, I think that Houston is a defense that, as we know, likes to punish teams. They like to just be really physical, borderline dirty.
Get after the quarterback.
Get after the quarterback. Yes. So again, this is going to be a game plan thing. If we're not seeing a lot of running back screen, I don't know what the Steelers are doing. Use their aggressiveness against them. Welcome the pressure. Ask them to blitz. Like, make it available to them and dump it off and run for 7-8 yards a carry. That's what I'm telling you. Like, it's what's missing at the college level, and half the time it's what's missing at the NFL level. The running back dump off is very effective when teams just want to blitz the hell out of the game, and I would expect a lot of that from the Steelers.
Yeah, that would mean that Gainwell's playing a lot. I think DK Metcalf has to have a huge game. I mean, I think that there's no other way to. I mean, you're probably not going to change much of it's going to be Freiermuth and Metcalf. Right. But DK is, I mean, I think he leads the NFL with 15 explosive plays. Like, I mean, they've got to have it. And that defense has to play well. Yeah.
No, I mean, and this is that game that we've talked about since Aaron Rodgers became a Steeler, right? I mean, this is a game where I'd like the narrative tomorrow to be, hey, Aaron Rodgers found a way to persevere and win the ball game. This is why you signed Aaron Rodgers right here. You signed him because this moment's not too big for him. He'll be able to read defense. He'll be able to put his guys in good positions. But it'll ultimately come down to, guys like DK catching the damn ball. Get open. Yes. This is your franchise receiver. Get open. Beat your matchup, like, repeatedly. And if that doesn't happen, so like I said, we'll just have to see. I mean, this is a game you're going to want to watch. This is one that I think.
Wow. It's official. Dylan Raiola is going to Oregon.
Yeah, well.
Wow.
Holder, bro.
So does that mean Dante Moore is going to the NFL?
No, I don't think so. If Dan Lanning, I'll say this. If Dan Lanning has Dylan Raiola as his number one quarterback, now you can start talking about what the hell Dan Lanning's doing.
Yeah, without Will Stein, that's interesting. Big story.
That is not a championship quarterback. Just not.
Yeah. That loss was bad enough that LaFleur can be coaching the Arizona Cardinals. They said they're bringing him back. They want to retain Matt LaFleur.
Which is incredible to me, given all the candidates.
Yeah. It's interesting how some people call that bad teammate. Others call it leadership. It changed the complexion of that game. I don't need you to be a good teammate. I hate some dudes at work, but if you're doing your job and winning, who the F cares? Don't have to vacation together. True.
Yeah, we don't have to stay at the same hotel in Cancun. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's a chance that Aaron Rodgers doesn't finish this game. I love the Houston Texans. That defense is so good.
Yeah.
So good. What Pittsburgh defense shows up? Because if Pittsburgh shows up on defense, they win the game. They win the game. It really is as simple as that. Because I don't think Aaron Rodgers makes the pick six mistake or.
Right. Yeah.
He does not do that. He throws the ball willingly to the tight ends and running backs, and he takes his shots with DK. Just simple as that.
Maybe a fumble from the pass rush coming behind him. That would be the only way I think he turns it over.
In that, the Texans are one of the best defenses in the NFL.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I hope, I'm trying to be cordial with Aaron. I hope that he doesn't go out on a loss, but I have a hard time seeing them winning the Super Bowl with where things are at now.
All right, let's run through some NFL storylines. Chargers and integrity lacking Jim Harbaugh blown out in New England. Just your reaction to how good the Patriots are. I think they're very good. I think that defense is very good.
Yeah, I think Drake May is living up to it, dude. I think that the really good performance, I know it's not some 30-point masterpiece, but you won the ball game and you won it in controlling fashion. And I felt like, yeah, the defense, no surprise, right? Vrabel is your head coach. You have a really good defense, not rocket science. And I think that they controlled the Chargers, whether the Chargers like that or not. And I really hate to say this, but at some point Herbert's gonna have to get to another organization to do the winning he wants to do. Totally You're not doing that. You're not doing that as a Charger.
Totally agree. The Bills hang on to beat the crypto god quarterback, 12 head. I think it was a really close disaster for Buffalo and Josh Allen. Because if they lose that game, you're screwed. Caveman looking dude tore his Achilles tendon, but the 49ers still won that game. And now I think next weekend in the NFC, it's pretty set. But I'm very curious to see. I am very curious to see. How do we move into a place where the 49ers can win games on a regular basis? I mean, you look at, they're coming here to Seattle to take on the Seahawks, and they're just so depleted. The Seahawks are already 7.5 points.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that is going to be like, you understand why the Rams, I think this morning I looked, they're 4 points favored over the Bears in Chicago. Totally understand that.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea how Buffalo's favored in Denver, but I know why the 49ers are 7.5 points short against the Seahawks. Like, I don't see any way that without Kittle, who tore his Achilles, I don't see any way that the 49ers can come to Seattle and win.
Yeah, I think the points being where they are with that, to me, is all about Sam Darnold and the offense, right? I mean, you're playing an offense. How much
of a bye hangover do they have?
Yeah, I mean, you are playing an offense that is really good, and them being a 7-point favorite is all about the fact that the 49ers aren't going to be able to keep up in the scoring column. That to me is the whole 9 yards. Yeah, sure. Can either of these two teams play defense? Sure, but the Seahawks at home, that's a 30-point game, in my opinion, for the Seahawks all day.
And then old man leads Nakua to a win. Rams are headed to God's country to take on the Bears. I understand why the Rams are favored in that game. I would expect the Bears to win that game.
Yes.
I would
think that's a good matchup. You're capable of winning that game. But again, you cannot continue to be down 21-3. Like, you can't do that to yourself. You need to be, being down. Anytime you're down more than one possession, you're in trouble. You got to keep it early in the game to one possession.
Can you scheme Puka Nacua out of that offense? Bears are going to have to try, because that's how you beat the Rams. He cannot have 150 yards receiving. He just can't.
Yeah.
If he does, you're done. Rams coming to Soldier Field is a recipe for Bears success. I'm hoping it's -50 when Stafford takes the field. That'd be nice. That'd be nice, right? Boyd Lake, Nakua is tough to stop. He really is. He really, really is. And you got to get him to stop doing podcasts too.
Not ideal.
No, not ideal at all. All right. The Monty Show is always presented by our friends at The Advocates, theadvocates.com, the best injury attorneys in the business, 24/7, 365, and it won't cost you a dime to get clear, risk-free advice when you need it, where you need it, how you need it. Theadvocates.com. Until tomorrow when we celebrate Aaron Rodgers' monumental win. Say goodbye, Jake.
Goodbye, Jake.